Okay, welcome and good afternoon from my side, the organizing team, to the today's session of this 10 days refresher course, which is going on. The title: Advances in Commercial Goat Farming for Enhancement of Livelihood Security, which is jointly organized by IGFRI and Regional Station Srinagar and NADCL Baramulla. In this session today, we will be having 3 lectures. One will be on occupational hazards and zoonoses, specifically to sheep and goats, which was demanded by some participants. Then we will be having another lecture on integrated approach for control of ectoparasites in livestock at the edge of drug resistance. And we shall be having a talk on organic goat production challenges and opportunities. This is a first lecture, occupational hazards and zoonoses specifically to sheep and goats. It will be delivered by our expert, Dr. Zubair Ahmad, who is a senior assistant professor in the Department of Veterinary Medicine, Faculty of Veterinary Sciences, Sher Kashmir University of Agricultural Science and Technology, Kashmir. Before starting the lecture, I want to have a brief introduction of Dr. Zubair. He is having more than 12 years experience in teaching, research and extension, and is a recipient of various national and international awards by various agencies and societies. He qualified the ICR SRF in the year 2016 and worked on the detection and analysis of drug residues of commonly used antibiotics and antihelminthics in veterinary practice in milk, meat, and chicken of Kashmir during his doctorate program. Doctor?
Yes, sir. This is in brief.
Okay. Dr. Zubair, I welcome you to deliver your talk on the lecture, on the talk we mentioned. Please go ahead, Dr. Zubair.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Shiraz.
Can share your screen?
Okay, sir. I'm going to.
You will, Dr. Zubair, you will first complete your talk. If there are questions, they will be in the chat box and as well, and at the last of this session.
Okay.
There will be discussion.
Okay.
Please.
Now, as mentioned by my friend and the organizer, Dr. Shiraz Ahmed, that my topic is occupational hazards and zoonoses, specifically to sheep and goat. So but first I would like to introduce the term, brief introduction. What are zoonoses? These are the diseases that spread between animals and humans, and they are caused by the germs, bacteria, viruses, parasites, and fungi. Out of the human pathogens, out of overall 1415 pathogens, in which there are 217 viruses and prions, 538 are bacteria and rickettsia, 307 are fungi, 66 are protozoa, and 287 are helminths. Out of these total of these human pathogens, 868 are zoonotic in nature. And that means 61% are of zoonotic nature. Zoonotic nature means that they are spread between the animals and humans. And humans catch these pathogens from animals. That may be bovines, cattle, sheep, goat, even dogs, but they are zoonotic in nature. Of all that human pathogens, 1415, 1415, 868 of these diseases caused to the humans or due to animals. That means they are zoonotic in nature. Zoonosis is massively underreported. Most of the cases they don't go reported. They cause significant morbidity and mortality, and they impose a dual burden on animals and humans. They pose potential for global spread. They control at source when feasible is highly effective. If we control them at source, it will be highly effective. Ancient diseases often eliminated in wealthy countries. Some of the diseases have already been eliminated in some wealthier countries. 80% originate as animal pathogens. 71.8% of these originate from wildlife, and at least 315 are carried by ungulates. 80% they are used as agents of bioterrorism. For example, anthrax, bacillus anthracis, that can be used as a war, as a weapon in modern times. 80% agents of bioterrorism and agroterrorism, twice associated with emerging infectious disease than non-zoonotic pathogens. They affect the animal health and productivity. They affect the international trade of livestock and their products. They cause 1 billion cases of human illness, and millions of human deaths are every year due to the zoonotic pathogens. And in terms of economic loss, about $200 billion, direct and indirect, during a study between 2000 to 2010, as per the World Bank. Top important priority of zoonosis, 13 zoonoses, they are gastrointestinal zoonosis, for example, due to salmonellosis, leptospirosis, cysticercosis, zoonotic tuberculosis, rabies, leishmaniasis, brucellosis, echinococcosis, toxoplasmosis, Q fever, trypanosomiasis, anthrax, and hepatitis E. India ranks first among 20 countries in the global burden of diseases of zoonosis. That is a study carried out by International Livestock Research Institute, Nairobi, 2012. Now, most common zoonoses of sheep and goat are, in terms of viral, there is rabies, contagious ecthyma, that is also called as sore mouth, vesicular stomatitis. In terms of bacterial, that the most dangerous and dreadful disease, that is anthrax, brucellosis, leptospirosis, listeriosis, salmonellosis, E. coli, chlamydiosis, and campylobacteriosis. In terms of rickettsia, that is Q fever, that is also called as coccidiosis. Fungal mycosis and ringworm dermatomycosis, phytosis or mycosis. Protozoal cryptosporidiosis, helminthes echinococcosis, and in terms of arthropods, we have scabies, sarcoptic mange, and myiasis. Now, what are the various broad effects of zoonosis? They affect the human health, that is, they cause illness. There is loss of time, wastage of time, long-term illness, and some under extreme cases that can cause death. And what they cause on animals, they cause illness, death, and production loss. In terms of financial burden, they cause the loss in income. They cause the costs incurred on the treatment, that is disease costs, trade loss when there is a spread of disease in some country or in some region. The import-export from that region gets affected, so the trade loss is affected. And there is a reputation of loss also. Public health aspect is that the food safety is affected. When there is a zoonotic disease, for example, tuberculosis, most of the meat we get from animals that becomes affected, that becomes adulterated. Most of it is discarded away. So it affects food safety. And when there is not proper screening and surveillance of that diseased food, it can be consumed and it can cause illness. Who can get sick? People who live near or work with animals or their environments, they are the most people vulnerable or prone to get sick, to get affected. Dr. Shiraz, are you hearing me?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Okay. Who can get sick? Anyone with a weakened immune system. Most common these groups are children under age 5, pregnant women, people over 65, and people with long-term illness, for example, AIDS, cancers. They have depressed immunity and they are also prone to get more affected by the zoonotic disease. People or animals must breathe. People or animals must breathe. How infection get? First, there should be infection. Then to get that sick, that infection should get entry into the body. That can be gotten by breathing in or touching or swallowing germs that cause zoonosis in order to get sick. That means there should be the entry of pathogen into the host, into the humans. How do the pathogens get in the body? They get in the openings in the skin, bite or scratch. For example, if we have bite or scratch and we go to the animal having some disease, then that can get affected. That pathogen, for example, TB germ can get, TB mycoplasma can get entry through bite or scratch, through needle pricks, chapped, broken skin, or through mucous membranes of eyes, nose, mouth, breathing in and swallowing. What are the effects of zoonosis? Zoonosis can make us little sick or very sick. Sometimes immunity can be very strong. There can be no infection or at all. There can be mild infection, moderate infection, severe infection, and sometimes death can also occur. Sometimes unrecognized infection. Unrecognized infection means there can be slight some allergy, slight some skin allergy or any other allergy, and after some time it will recede away of its own. And sometimes it will get recognized infection, a heavy infection. And sometimes there will be, most of the times there will be reproductive problems, long-term chronic illness and disability. In many of the diseases, for example, brucellosis, there can be orchids, there can be reproductive problems, there can be disability of this maleness also, sexual disability, for example. First of all, there should be source, that is animals, where from the zoonotic germs come. Then there should be transmission, that germs should get transmitted to the host. And there should be entry from where the germs should enter the humans. So we have the 3 points where we can check these zoonotic diseases. We can check at source, we can check during transmission, and we can check during entry. These are the 3 blocking points where we can block these zoonotic disease. My schematic diagram is actually related to that we can avoid these at 3 points. We can block these zoonotic disease at the source level, transmission level, and entry level. The germs can come from the body fluids of the animals, for example, tissues, skin surfaces, bites, scratches. They can also come from the environment, air surfaces, equipment, soil, manure, wild animals. They can come from the food and water, meat, milk, eggs, water. They can come from the insects and ticks, mosquitoes, flies, and ticks. They are the vectors. They carry the diseases from animals. While sucking the blood or feeding on the animals, they carry them with them, the zoonotic pathogens, and they can transmit them to the humans. For example, from animals' skin sores, wool and hides, urine fluids, lamb and kidding after birth, from milk and the meat, from cough, sneeze, saliva, mucus, and bites. From the animal, animals from animal environment. This is the animal environment where the animals are kept. they can harbor, they can carry the zoonotic pathogens. From food and water, we can also get the zoonotic pathogens. From insects and ticks, which are the vectors. India is one of the hotspot of zoonosis. Why? Because the area is very large. The area is 32,87,263 square kilometers. Coastline is very long, 7,516 kilometers. We are sharing borders with 7 countries almost. Tremendous diversity of climatic and physical conditions. There's a great diverse variety of fauna, over 92,037 species of fauna, as per Zoological Survey of India. Demographic background is also very varied. India is a population to host to 1.21 billion population with a density of 382 square kilometers. Point of concern is that India occupies 2.4% of the world's surface area. Yet it supports and sustains a whooping of 17.5% of the world's total population resides in India, and more than 58% of the population relies on agriculture. Agriculture means agriculture and agri, in which there come animals, because most of the Indians practice agricultural system in which they rear the livestock with agriculture. So the effects of zoonosis, so the incidence of zoonosis in India is very much there. Zoonosis enigma in recent times in India. There's an outbreak of Vibrio cholerae in 1992 in West Bengal, plague in Maharashtra and Gujarat 1994, also in 2002 in Himachal Pradesh and 2004 in Uttarakhand. SARS, there was outbreak in 2003. Nipah virus, there was outbreak in 2001 and again in 2007 in West Bengal. Contiguous Congo hemorrhagic fever, that outbreak was in 2011 in Gujarat. Lyme disease outbreak was 2013 in Kerala. And these outbreaks, they are often coming and going and sporadic and endemic, etc. These are the brucellosis, tuberculosis, salmonellosis, leptospirosis, anthrax, campylobacteriasis. In terms of viral, there is rabies cases sometimes, Japanese encephalitis, Cassinood forest disease, swine flu, bird flu, parasite. In terms of parasitic, hydrated disease, toxopariasis, trichinosis, cysticercosis, filariasis, leishmaniasis, amoebiasis, fungal candidiasis, ringworms. In terms of other diseases, Q fever, listeriosis, toxoplasmosis, West Nile fever, botulinum, E. coli infections, streptococcosis, glanders. These infections usually we get sometime or the other. Now, what are the main, some of them, briefing some of the main diseases affecting these sheep and goats, which are very much of zoonotic nature. For example, one of the diseases is brucellosis. Brucellosis is considered by the Food and Agricultural Organization, World Health Organization, and Office of the International Epizootics as the most widespread zoonosis in the world. It is an occupational zoonosis for farmers, veterinarians, and workers in meat industry. It is one of the leading causes of infection abortions. In bovines, the prevalence as per a global, in terms of global scenario, as per the International Livestock Research Institute, Nairobi, Kenya, the prevalence rate in bovine is 13%, in goats is 13%, in camels is 7%, in chickens, pigs, and dogs is 5%, livestock keepers, abattoir workers, it is 11%, and in hospital patients, it is 7%. And losses are 25% milk losses in terms of animals, and high rates of abortions in stillbirths, as we all know. Brucellosis in Indian scenario, cattle, it is affected, prevalence is 1.9%, buffalo 1.8%, sheep 3.6%, goat is 0.6%, humans is 0.5 to 41.25%, and humans plus animals is greater than 15%. Veterinary officers, as the seropositivity is 12.37%, veterinary inspectors 41.23%. You can see how much prevalent it is in the occupationally, in the related this persons, whether they may be veterinary officers, they may be farmers, they may be shepherds, or they may be other persons associated with the animals. Veterinary inspectors is 41.23%. Veterinary assistants it is at the rate of 30.92%. Veterinary supervisors that has been detected at the rate of 6.18%. And Group D employees of the departments of sheep husbandry or animal husbandry, it has been detected up to the level of 6.18%. In shepherds, 2.06%. Slaughters, that means butchers, it has been detected to the level of 1.03%. The study has been carried in a group of 618 people in 2007. In India, brucellosis cost us rupees 350 million in the form of food animals and man days of labor. Human brucellosis causing physical incapacity and 3 million man days of labor annually. Loss of 3 million man days of labor annually. Q fever. Q fever, it is an intracellular, it is another zoonotic disease of dangerous nature. It is the bacterium is intracellular, small gram negative. Generation time is 20 to 45 hours. It is an obligate nature of, it requires translocate bacterial effector protein into host cells, classified as rickets cells order, and it belongs to the gamma subdivision of Proteobacteriae with genera Legionella, Fascella, and Ricketsella. It is a highly infectious category B agent, the most contagious disease. It is also used as a potent bioterrorism weapon. It has a global distribution except in New Zealand. It is endemic in greater than 51 countries and 5 continents. Rarely reported as it remains largely a neglected zoonosis. It is ranked 1 among the 13 global priority zoonosis. Notably, bacterial zoonosis, it is an occupational foodborne zoonosis, and it causes high mortality 1 to 11% in chronic cases. Recent outbreak has been in Netherlands in 2007 to 12. It is implicated, and it was implicated in more than 4,000 human cases there. And it was the government was forced to cull more than 58,150 small remnants. It is an OIE notifiable disease as per the American Veterinary Medical Association. Intrauterine infection in animals causing one of the most significant public health problems. It causes high morbidity and mortality in pregnancy. It causes abortions and unpredictable infection. It causes sporadic and unexpected outbreaks. It can also cause subclinical mastitis, and it can affect bulk milk tag samples up to 92% were caught contaminated in US, as per the survey. Common sources is domestic ruminants. It can be excreted by placental membranes of infected animals that can carry 10⁹ organisms per gram of tissue. Comparable numbers of large numbers of coxilla are also excreted during the birth of live kids. It is independent of abortion history. It has also been detected in feces, vaginal mucus, and milk of infected ruminants. What are the risk factors? Animal-related factors are direct contact of animals, sometimes handling abortion cases or placenta, assisting in calving or lambing, and it can also be contracted through milking, shoveling of manure, feeding of animals, petting of animals, or having pets in farm. From the environment, it can get it can be contracted through visit to barrens and endemic areas. It is also regarded as an occupational hazard to farmers and veterinarians. Foods, it can be contracted through foods, unpasteurized milk and cheese. It can be contracted, it is more common in small barns and poor ventilation, confinement conditions, and environments that facilitate infection. Some of the high risk groups are smoking that causes inhalation of the pathogen because smoking has already impaired the pulmonary host defenses. Contaminated hands, touching cigarettes, food injection of pathogen, drinking alcohol, liver complications. They are these people which have liver complications, which are smokers, which drink alcohol, they are more prone to get the infection. Another zoonotic potential, zoonotic bacteria of another bacteria of zoonotic, highly zoonotic potential affecting these sheep and goats is Listeria, which is a gram-positive, non-sporulating rod. First species is human listeriosis. For example, Listeria monocytogenesis. It accounts of 80%, 98% of the human cases. They are due to Listeria monocytogenesis, which is a pathogen or affecting animals, affecting sheep and goat. It is identifiable as a human pathogen. It was identified as human pathogen in 1929, but recognized in 1986 again by WHO. It is a foodborne transmission, appears to be the major means of zoonotic transmission. Listeria monocytogenesis, in 85% of the animal cases, it is implicated. Disease in animals arises mainly from ingestion of contaminated food and water, particularly common in ruminants fed on silage. Sometimes it is also referred as silage disease. It has a wide host range. It is a host of 40 mammals, 20 birds, crustaceans, ticks, flies, and fishes. Overall mortality can range as high as 30%, as per the OIE, Office of the International Physics 2008 data. What are the most population at risk? Impaired cell-mediated immunity. These populations are more risky to the Listeria. Infants less than 1 month old, pregnant women, adults greater than 60% old, 60 years old, having malignancy, hematological malignancies, HIV patients, organ transplantation recipients, and corticosteroid therapy recipients. As we all know that corticosteroid depresses the immunity. So corticosteroid patients which are on corticosteroid therapy, they are having depressed immunity, so they can easily catch the zoonotic diseases, especially the Listeria. Indian scenario, first case was reported in 1935 in sheep from Hyderabad. And Listeria monocytogenesis species was first isolated in 1950 in Madras in infected sheep. In 1966, first isolation of Listeria monocytogenesis was isolated from the cervix of women with poor obstetrical history. That means it was first isolated from the human obstetrical case in 1966. From goats, it has been isolated from 1960, and pigs by the scientists 1985, in chicken 1967, in buffalo 1978, and in infertile cow 1985. Human listeriosis, what is the scenario of human listeriosis in India? Due to poor obstetric history, it has been detected by Krishna and co-workers, Gupta, Kaur, and meningitis. It causes meningitis in humans by these findings by these scientists. From time to time, it can be detected, it can be begotten prenatally by the findings by these scientists. It can cause perinephric abscess, finding by these scientists in 1998. It can cause neonatal listeriosis. Neonatal, for example, it can be contracted at the neonatal stage at birth, finding by this scientist Thomas Gupta in 1997. It can cause pericarditis in humans, finding by Revati in 1995. Animal listeriosis. In scenario in India, it has caused miscarriages, sheep, goat, and cattle. Bovine reproductive disorders, subclinical mastitis is causes, and it also causes fatal neurological disease in pigs. Another important zoonotic disease of small ruminants, sheep, goats, is leptospirosis. Disease is contracted from infected rats' urine or contaminated water courses, contaminated waters. Population at high risk is rural farm workers, rice field workers, fishermen, sugarcane cutters, cattle farmers, slaughterhouse workers, and sewer workers, as per the CDC, Center for Disease Control. Sorry. Economic impact is the cost incurred on medical treatment, decrease in productivity, milk yield, impact on trade of animals, semen losses by reproductive failures. Indian scenario is in Andaman and Nicobar, 50 at the per 1 lakh, mortality 21%. In Chennai, 10.5 cases per lakh, and in Kerala, 5.6 cases per lakh, and mortality 10.1 mortality out of 1 lakh. Another zoonotic disease of a most significance is anthrax. It is a most dangerous zoonotic disease. It has been often rumored to be used as a bioterrorism. It has sometimes it is also rumored that some countries of the world are amassing these pathogens of anthrax to use them as a war weapon in the future. Human anthrax total cases documented till 2005, 205. Cutaneous form most common, 90 greater than 95. There are two forms of the cases, cutaneous form and inhalation form. Cutaneous form affects the skin. Inhalation form affects the lungs of humans. Many sporadic cases, 1970 in Kashmir and Bihar, there has been detected cases. 1980 to 90s, North Arcot, Tamil Nadu, and parts of Kerala, Karnataka. Majority of the cases in tri-junctional zone, that is southwest Andhra Pradesh, southeast Karnataka, Kerala, and northern Tamil Nadu. Endemic since long, Andhra Pradesh. It has been endemic in Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. And it has been emerging in Andhra Pradesh, Pondicherry, Orissa, and West Bengal. Epizootiology is not yet well understood. Reported from most of the states, endemic in Tamil Nadu, that animal anthrax. This was human anthrax, this is animal anthrax. Endemic in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and West Bengal. Incidence from 1981 to 1994 is 1.5 to 9.4 million of population among cattle, sheep, goat, and buffaloes. Deaths and 479 deaths of cattle in cattle 3 year period. This emergence is linked to vulture decline, because vultures used to feed on these dead animals. When there have been decline in vultures, so the dead and decomposing carcasses continue to remain, and they are a source of anthrax bacilli if the animal of the carcass has been affected due to anthrax. These are the findings of SVS Malik, 2008, a very reputed public health, very reputed scientist of India working in IVRI. He is a scientist of public health, veterinary public health. It has been his study, his research. Anthrax in West Midnapur. These are some photographs of humans having contracted the cutaneous form of anthrax, how it affects the humans. It causes some carbuncles on the skin. And in animals, what is the shape of the dead animals? There is a bloat. There is this bleeding from this anus. And the bleeding, this bleeding, the blood oozing from anthrax does not clot. It is anthrax in West Midnapur. Tuberculosis. Another disease of this zoonotic nature affecting this sheep and goat is tuberculosis. Globally, 9 million TB cases developed in 2013. Southeast Asia and Western Pacific regions accounted for 56% of the cases. India highest TB cases 24%, followed by 11% in China. Some of the countries having this top 10 countries having the highest TB cases, as we already have some information, as we already know that TB is highly rampant in India, and government is taking every effort to eradicate this disease. On the top, all over the world, it is India which is leading in the TB. After India, the other countries lagging or marching behind are China, Nigeria, Pakistan, Indonesia, South Africa, Bangladesh, Philippines, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Ethiopia. This is the source of World Health Organization as per 2014 data of Global Tuberculosis Report. Zoonotic tuberculosis, primarily animal TB, Mycobacterium bovis is the main cause of TB that is spreading to humans. But sometimes it spreads to cattle and sheep. From cattle, it spreads to sheep and goat, and then it spreads to humans from sheep and goat. It is more severe than Mycobacterium tuberculosis. The actual tuberculosis bacilli in humans, this type of tuberculosis carried from animals, contracted from animals, is more severe than human TB, which spreads from man, mainly from man to man. Mycobacterium bovis spreads in all four directions. It can spread from animal to man, man to man, man to animal, and animal to man, animal. It is multidirectional. While in case of Mycobacterium tuberculosis, animals serve as dead end hosts. Mycobacterium bovis is rather difficult to isolate and identify and needs more time, that is 3 to 6 weeks compared to 2 to 3 weeks as compared to Mycobacterium tuberculosis to grow. Glycerol is used as in conventional media. No wonder zoonotic tuberculosis is undiagnosed and underreported. It is a surprising fact that Mycobacterium bovis, which is the main cause of tuberculosis in India and in the world, and particularly in India, did not find even a mention in TB India status report 2014. That was a report mainly prepared by medicos, and they almost stressed on Mycobacterium tuberculosis. They didn't emphasize, they didn't pay much attention to this Mycobacterium bovis. In a country with no TB control program for animals and having maximum animal heads in the world, Mycobacterium TB, bovis TB, or TB due to animals should have been given a special reference in this report prepared by the medicos in 2014. But the role of animals was not highlighted so much, and it was undermined, and the bacteria caused it. Bovine tuberculosis in India, prevalence of bovine tuberculosis in India, and 1.16% cattle and 3.5% buffalo. About 10% cases of human TB are caused by Mycobacterium bovis. Urgently required is delayed longitudinal studies on the population structure of Mycobacterium bovis, both from humans and animals, their drug resistance profiling, and identification of new mutated genes so as to address multi-drug resistant issues in Mycobacterium bovis in India. Another dangerous disease affecting these humans, this is zoonotic nature, and which is carried from animals, can be transmitted from animals, is rabies. Globally, 61,000 human deaths are reported due to this disease, due to rabies. And it is a fatal zoonosis. Once there is this disease, the human has to die ultimately. There is no remedy once it contracts the disease. It means that mortality is 100% and fatality is 100%. Greater than 55,000 human deaths as per Garish 2014. Asia and Africa accounted for greater than 30,000 and 23,000 deaths alone respectively. Asia and Africa accounted for greater than 95% of the total world cases. Prevention and control costs cost about $590 million annually. What is the impact of the disease? 36% of the global human rabies burden. Greater than 19% of 90% of cases in developing nations are due to dog bites. Most of the cases are due to dog bites. Sometimes dog bites sheep and goat, and from sheep and goat we can get that infection. But most of the common cause, the prime cause, is the dog bite. Whether the dog bites humans directly or the dog bites, because we already know that in a flock of sheep or in a flock of goats, the dog bites and the dog attacks are most common. 38 million persons days lost annually due to animal bites, and $25 million per annum or a year on post-exposure treatment costs on the injections, on the therapy of the rabies. Rabies should be declared as a notifiable disease in India, along with launching of an organized surveillance system forthwith for updated data. These are the references from where it has been collected. The flying mammals are reservoirs for more than 60 viruses that can affect humans, and these rabies virus is also affected. Is also a reservoir for this rabies virus. Flying foxes are also a reservoir of this rabies virus, along with other 60 viruses. Dense roosting behavior of little bent winking bats facilitating virus transmission. This behavior of viruses, which facilitates transmission. Another important disease of zoonotic importance of affecting due to contracted mostly from the sheep and goat, it is toxoplasmosis. In humans, it is asymptomatic flu. It causes flu-like symptoms, congenital abortion, fetal deaths, hydrocephalus, convulsions, cerebral calcification, mental retardation. This can occur in animals. In first trimester, 13% congenital infections, but severity is 80%. In second trimester, 29% congenital infection, but severity is 30%. And likewise, 33rd trimester, 50% congenital infection, and severity is 70 to 90%. Postnatal incubation period is 1 to 2 weeks. It can cause lymphadenitis, fever, malaise, fatigue, muscle pain, sore throat, and headache. Encephalitis in AIDS patients. In AIDS patients, it can also cause encephalitis. In a case study, 33% of the women of income, social group, lower income group, and 22% of the women of high social group were detected seropositive for Toxoplasma specific IgG antibodies. Seroprevalence of Toxoplasma gondii, one of the common species, is 44.6% and 36.8% in pregnant women with and without history of pregnancy wastage, respectively. Another important virus affecting sheep and goats, which is zoonotic in nature, is Rift Valley fever, as an acute disease of domestic ruminants caused by mosquito-borne virus, Bunia virus, characterized by liver disease, and it also causes bleeding disorders and frequent abortions in animals. Infection can cause severe disease in both animals and humans, with many deaths. Large outbreaks have been found in animals, especially after heavy rains. The disease is typically distributed along, but not limited to, the Great Rift Valley. It is mostly distributed along the Rift Valley, along the tropical countries of Africa like Mozambique, Egypt, Lebanon, etc. These are tropical countries, but it has also been detected in other countries apart from the Rift Valley countries. Transmission of Rift Valley fever spread among animals is through the bite of an infected mosquito, especially Aedes mosquito. Other biting flies can act as a mechanical transmitter. Susceptible animals are, as we are discussing, that is sheep, cattle, goats, and camels. Majority of the human infections result from direct or indirect contact with blood and organs of infected animals. High risk groups are butchers, veterinarians, animal handlers, herders, and farmers. Humans can also be infected directly by infected mosquitoes, skin cuts, and inhalation. Clinical presentation of Rift Valley fever. In animals, it is presented as incubation period varies from 1 to 6 days. In animals, the symptoms are fever, low activity, salivation, diarrhea, vomition, nasal discharge, loss of appetite, low milk yield, mortality of 10 to 70%, especially in cows. Outbreaks manifest as a wave of unexplained abortions in livestock. When there's a heavy unexplained abortions in livestock, it can be Rift Valley fever. In humans, the manifestations are influenza-like syndrome. There is like influenza. There is fever, headache, muscular pain, weakness, discomfort, and fear of light. That is photophobia. Recovery occurs within 4 to 7 days. There can occur complications like eye complications, bleeding disorders, yellow eyes, meningitis like illness, and death. How we can control this Rift Valley fever? We can control in animals by mass vaccination in affected and neighboring areas. Restricting livestock movement may slow spread. Control of mosquito populations, that is vector populations. Burn and bury dead and affected animals, abort and their abortion products. Surveillance in animals also provides early warning for epidemic in humans. In humans, we can control by control of mosquitoes, personal protective measures for high-risk groups, reducing consumption of raw blood, milk, or animal tissues. In epizootic regions, all animal products should be thoroughly cooked before eating, and proper handling of specimen. We should properly handle the specimen, wearing protective clothing and protective gears, etc., when we are suspecting for this Rift Valley fever. Protecting against zoonosis. No, first of all, I gave a brief introduction of zoonosis. Then I told some of the important Indian scenario. Then I told some of the common disease, zoonotic disease affecting cattle and sheep, and their reports as per in the animals and humans by various studies and scientists. Now I will be briefly telling how we can protect against zoonosis. As I already told that there are 3 points, 3 blockade where we can check the zoonosis. We can check at source. Source means from animals where from which we get. We can check at that point. We can, so means we have to control the health of animals. If the animals are healthy, so we can have good health. There will be no zoonotic disease. If the animals are free of TB, we can also get rid of TB a lot, because if we control the germs at the source level, if the animals are healthy, we are healthy. It is a concept, new concept of one health concept, global health of modern times, that if we have to keep ourselves healthy, if we want to keep the humans healthy, we have to keep the healthy, we have to keep in mind the health of environment, the health of animals, the health of plants as well. Another point is transmission. We can control the transmission of the disease. Another point is personal entry. We can control the entry by personal protection. So these are the 3 points where we can stop zoonosis. At the entry level, how we can stop the entry? We have to wash our hands after working in animals for about 20 seconds using soap and hot water. We should wear protective clothing. We should wear clean coveralls and boots. When needed, we should wear masks, goggles, and gloves. We should avoid exposure, cover open wounds. Be extra careful around animals if we have a weak immune system, if we are weak, if we are old, if we are having a chronic disease, etc. That is comes under an entry that comes under personal protection. Another entry level we can check. We should cook food properly. We should wash hands often when preparing food. Wash utensils, cutting boards, knives. Keep raw and cooked food separate. Cook foods to proper internal temperature using a meat thermometer. So you should fry and cook foods, meat, etc., foods in animal foods properly, so that most of the pathogens or all the pathogens they get killed. We should chill, do not thaw meat on the counter. Freeze or refrigerate food within 2 hours. We should freeze or refrigerate the food within 2 hours. This also comes under the personal protection. Now, how we can check the second point, how we can check the transmission of zoonotic disease? That comes under biosecurity, that comes under the stopping germs from spread. The various ways are keeping disease out. We should limit access, forum access. We should quarantine new animals. We should isolate sick animals. We should manage manure, remove manure from pens on a regular basis. We should control insects and ticks. Keep animals indoors. Do not let out water accumulate because that harbors vectors, mosquitoes. We should use insecticides. Another biosecurity measure is clean and disinfection, remove dirt and debris, soak water with hot water, detergent, wipe out supercrab area, rinse and dry. We should carry regular disinfections, choose a suitable disinfectant, apply as directed, let disinfectant sit and rinse and dry. How we can control at the source? We have to keep the animals healthy, as I already told you. We should stop the animals from getting sick. We should manage herd, provide clean, dry housing, make sure animals have enough food, keep low stress. We should properly vaccinate the animals, work with your veterinarian to find out which vaccines are appropriate for your herd. We should prevent parasites, keep animals free from parasites using medicines and posture management. Take a step in the right direction. Talk with your veterinarian about how to protect your animals and yourself. So we should stop. We can stop at 3 points: at the source, at the transmission level, at the entry. We should prevent these zoonotic diseases at these 3 levels. What are the existing surveillance systems? In medical sector, there's integrated disease surveillance project. That is for the surveillance of zoonotic diseases. In veterinary sector, there has been National Animal Disease Reporting System, National Animal Disease Referral Export System, on incidence of notifiable disease, Animal Disease Control Act 2009, in the process of collection of data, intersectoral calibration on zoonosis, National Standing Committee on Zoonosis. Initiative was taken jointly by the ICR and medical people ICMR. That has been ICMR and ICR Task Force on Zoonosis, ICR and ICMR Joint Calibration Task Force on Rickettsiosis, Disease Surveillance alone by the ICR. Institutes involved are ICR, National Institute of Veterinary Epidemiology and Disease Informatics for Epidemic Diseases, and ICR based National Institute of Health and disease diagnostics for exotic diseases, animal health diagnostics, outreach program on zoonotic diseases with headquarters at IIVRI, basic applied translational research on zoonotic infections at ICR institutes. National Institute of Zoonosis, NYZEG, National Institute of Zoonosis has been that has NYZEG, that has been NYZEG, and it will have its headquarters in Nagpur with countrywide satellite research centers, 32 ICMR and 50 ICR labs, high-end research at Nagpur, while related projects will be conducted in satellite centers. National Institute for Zoonosis will bring together medical and veterinary scientists, microbiologists, ecologists, epidemiologists, statisticians, economists, and social scientists for excellence on zoonosis at MOPSU, Maharashtra, and Animal and Fisheries Sciences University at Nagpur. How we can prevent the zoonosis ultimately? We should wash our hands. That's a short-term wash by which we can rememberize. We should wash our hands often when animals. We should keep areas and equipment clean. We should avoid livestock or poultry if we have weak immune system. We should avoid insects, ticks, and wildlife. We should be safer, wear protective clothing, gloves, cover all masks, prepare and cook food safely. We should keep ourselves and our family healthy. We should work with our veterinarian to keep animals healthy. That is how we can also remain healthy. Thank you very much. Ask your veterinarian about zoonotic disease risks on your farm. Thank you very much. Yes, Dr. Shiraz.
Thank you, Dr. Zubair.
Due to some health issue, and there is, as you know, there is the Rosa time. So otherwise, I would have this broadcast much more efficiently.
Yeah, I want to tell the participants that Dr. Zubair was not feeling well for last few days, but still I insisted to do it as soon as possible because it was much required by the participants. And thank you, Dr. Zubair. And we have some questions in the chat box. I will read one by one.
Okay.
First is, what are the diseases which can be transmitted by eating meat of sheep and goat?
What are the diseases which can be transmitted by eating meat of sheep or goat? All the diseases.
Drinking milk of sheep and goat.
By drinking milk or meat?
Both.
By drinking milk or all the diseases of zoonotic nature can be transmitted by eating milk of meat of sheep and goat. But there are some exceptions. For example, if we cook the milk, if we drink with this, boil the milk properly, if we cook the meat properly, some of the diseases, for example, most of the zoonotic diseases, they are not transmitted. There may be sometimes some pathogen may escape that this boiling or boiling temperature or cooking temperature, that can be. But as a rule, when a disease is detected in an animal in slaughterhouses, for some of the disease, we have to cull the animal as a whole. For example, I am giving one example. If there is tuberculosis, if the TB is widespread in a sheep, if the TB has affected widespread, there is a multi-organ TB. If the TB has spread to the whole animal, then we have to cull the animal as a whole. Then we have to not eat the animal as a whole. But sometimes, most of the times, TB affects some of the organs. For example, TB can affect some of one organ at a time. For example, if it affects lung only, or if it affects any part of the body only, then we can remove that organ, or after that organ remove an adjacent organ, while the rest of the meat can be consumed as such after proper cooking and other treatments. For milk, the rule is same. Most of the zoonotic disease, for example, streptococcus, staphylococcus, they are the most diseases spread through drinking milk. If, for example, sore throat is a disease that is caused due to streptococcus and staphylococcus, that is caused due to drinking of the milk, drinking of impure milk affected with these bacteria. But if there is a high boiling temperature, if we cook the milk properly, then there are chances that we may not get this disease. But chances, biology is a science of exceptions. Some of the pathogen, some of the spore may have survived. So it is better to avoid when we suspect that there is some disease, or if there is the milk is of impure nature, or if the milk is polluted. Yes. Yes, Shiraz sir.
Thank you, Dr. Zubair, for this elaboration. I think there are no more questions. Thank you, Dr. Zubair.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for giving me this time and this opportunity in your presentation. Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
We have one, Dr. Zubair, we have one more lecture now. If you have time, please.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Or I know you are
sorry, sir. I am leaving now for my home. Because if I would have left earlier, if we have in my travel time, I would not have been delivered the lecture. Can I leave, sir?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, thank you.
Now,
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Now it is, I am audible.
Yeah, you are audible, sir.
Hopefully we can complete today.
Yes.
And I want
So,
to
dear participants, we have one more lecture today. That's on integrated approach for the control of ectoparasites in livestock at the edges of drug resistance. And the speaker is again Dr. Vishwa Ranjan Maharana, sir, who is whom I have already introduced to you also before that also. He's a scientist at Haryana Pashu Vigyan Kendra at Lala Lajpat Rai University of Veterinary and Animal Sciences, Karnal. Sir, sir has
already introduced me.
yeah, I have already introduced you, but
I think the participants are same. So no need.
okay. The participants are same. Participants are same.
So I will directly come to my chapter which I have not covered. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
After 30 minutes, they are getting bored. So it is my duty to complete within 30 or 45 minutes. Okay, sir.
No, sir, you can take your time because your lecture is very important. It may take 1 hour, no problem.
So shall I start from the beginning or shall I start where I have left?
Dear participants, what do you think? Dr. Ashok?
Sir, if it is from beginning, that will be fine, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Then I will tell in brief about the beginning. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Sir, you please full time because this lecture is very important to the participants.
Okay. Am I audible? Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Oh, okay. So the topic is integrated approach for the control of ectoparasites in livestock at the age of drug resistance. So I will cover these parts. So I am not covering this part because I have already discussed what is the importance of livestock as well as the importance of the sheep and goat farming is concerned. So in brief, sheep is affectionately called as the mortgage lifter and goat is called as the poor man's cow because they are providing a lot in the form of milk, in the form of meat, in the form of wool production. So everything. Now, day by day, the crop production is stagnating. But at the same time, with the limited land, the small or the marginal farmers, they are having an important source that the sheep and the goat farming, which are providing a lot and they are the backbone. So that's why sheep and goat production is getting a momentum nowadays. And so far as various diseases are concerned, if you talk about the bacterial disease, talk about the viral disease, similarly, the parasite diseases are also having the very major aspect because they are playing a vital role in lowering the production. So for a profitable small ruminant production, management of the parasitism is very, very important. And now the consumers are very well aware of the healthy food. As I've already discussed, One Health concept. That means if you want to keep ourselves healthy, at the same time we have to look after the health of the environment, the health of the livestock, health of the plant. So if you work in an integrated way, then only we can be healthy, the animals can be healthy, and the environment can be healthy. That is based on the One Health approach. So there comes the parasitic diseases, which are playing a major role to create a threat towards a profitable livestock production. So far as there are so many parasites. It may be ectoparasites, it may be endoparasites. Ectoparasites, again, these are of various types. So broadly, we have classified the ectoparasite into flies, biting and non-biting flies. If you talk about the ticks, there may be soft tick, hard tick, mites, boring and non-boring mites, and again fleas and lice. I will talk one by one in brief. Not only they are biting, they're sucking blood. They are also helpful for transmission of so many diseases. So far as so, I will cover one by one. First, I will talk about ticks. If you talk about ticks, these are the various ticks which are found in case of sheep, like Hyaloma, Hemaphysalis, Rhipicephalus. These are all hard ticks, and Otovius magnani is the subtick. And if you talk about lice, these are again two types: biting lice and sucking lice. So Linognathus africanus, this is known as sucking lice, whereas Bovicula capre, though it is capre, it is mostly found in case of, it is also found in case of sheep. Okay, this is a Bovicula capre, is also known as a biting louse. Then fleas, Tenocephalides felis orientalis. And if you talk about mites, these are borrowing mites and non-borrowing mites. I will cover while coming to the topic proper. So far as flies are concerned, again the flies are of two types: maize causing flies and non-maize causing flies. Okay. So I have already discussed what is the economic importance of these ectoparasites. Not only they are helpful for transmission of, they are causing annoyance due to their bite. This is the direct loss. Even they act as mechanical and biological vectors of so many bacterial, viral, protozoan, and rickettsial diseases. They are posing serious health hazards. And the most important part is the treatment cost, the expenditure in the treatment of the animals. If you talk about theileriosis, it is one of the major diseases, hemoprotozoan diseases, that is affecting livestock, not only cattle and buffalo, but also small ruminants like sheep and goat. And if you treat the animal with buparvacone, that is the drug of choice for theileriosis, then you can think about it is costing more than 5,000 rupees. Because one dose of buparvacone is around 1,600 rupees. Apart from that, you have to also give supportive therapy. So altogether, it is costing around 5,000 rupees. So now you can understand what is the loss due to treatment. You forget about the production loss, you forget about the health loss, you think about the treatment loss. So the ectoparasite not only they are causing deterioration in the animal health, but they are also responsible for transmission of so many bacterial, viral, and protozoan diseases. So this is one figure which is showing the projected economic loss due to the ectoparasite that has been studied in large ruminants like cattle and buffalo. And this is the loss due to ticks. So what are the adverse effects on the industry then? There is a loss in milk production, meat production, leather industry, huge loss to the leather industry due to maize causing flies, as a loss of wool production and productive potential. That is also a huge loss. If you talk about the ectoparasite, and because nowadays we are totally depending upon the insecticide for the control of the ectoparasites, because farmer always want result at the doorstep. So they directly depending upon the ectoparasiticides or the insecticides or the acaricides. So due to the indiscriminate use of acaricide leads to development of acaricide resistance or the drug resistance. Now you can see from this figure in India, against all the available insecticide, starting from the pyrethroids, organochlorine, organophosphorus, and the latest drugs like the pyrethroids, the ticks or the ectoparasite have developed resistance from all corners of India. So now you see the grave situation. We are not having enough ectoparasite, because for the production of one acaricide, it is taking more than 25 to 30 years. Now the company, they are not interested to invest a lot in this new drugs, because by the time they are developing a new drug, the parasite is developing resistance, the ectoparasite developing resistance. So that's why they are not getting a lot of profit from the this drug. So that's why they are not interested. So we have to, whatever drugs we have to use the drug judiciously, and we should not follow the indiscriminate use of the drugs. So there comes the concept IPM, integrated pest management. What are the factors that enforce the implementation of the IPM? One is pesticide residues, or the resurgence of the new pests, environmental contamination, pesticide residues in the food, bioaccumulation and the biomagnification of the chemical pesticides, rate of development, and I have already discussed, rate of development of a new drug is not possible. It is very slow, it is very stagnant. And the increasing trends towards the organic food by the consumers, public health awareness. So that all these are the factors that propel the consumer towards the use or the implementation of the integrated pest management, or the integrated vector management, or the integrated ectoparasitic management. That includes all the factors: chemical control, biological control, physical control, cultural control, and preventive measures. So if IPM relies on two principles, economic injury level and economic threshold level. So where we have to target, when the population reach to the economic threshold level, there we can target for the control of the ectoparasites. Otherwise, once the population reach to the economic injury level, there the loss due to production exceeds the loss due to treatment. So in that case, we have to target only at the economic threshold level, so that the population of the ectoparasite can be controlled. Okay. So what are the basics of IPM? This is nothing. IPM says that treat only when required instead of treat routinely. IPM also realize that eradication of the pest or eradication of the ectoparasite is not at all desirable. IPM always attempt to optimize the production rather than maximize. So these are all the principles on which the IPM relies. So I will come to the tick. First, we will go for control of the ticks. So, there are two types of ticks. One is hard tick, another is soft tick. Now, if you consider the life cycle of the tick has been divided into three categories: one host tick, two host tick, and three host tick. One host tick means the tick completes the life cycle in one host only. Two host means the tick requires two hosts for completion of the life cycle. And if you talk about the three host tick, the tick requires three hosts for the completion of the life cycle. Now, this slide is very, very important. What is the biotic potential of the ticks? Whenever you are targeting for the control of a particular ectoparasite, then there are certain things that you should remember. One is, the epidemiology of the particular vector or the ticks. Second one, what is the life cycle? Where you can approach, where you can control the population of the ticks, and the biotic potential. The biotic potential plays a very important role. So here I will discuss what is the biotic potential of the tick. One female tick in one day can give rise to 4,000 eggs. So when the tick lays eggs, they will hatch on the ground and they will give rise to larvae. Now that larvae attach, engorge, and drop down. Then there will be one molting, that is from the larva to the nymph. That is the first molting. Then there will be second molting. The larva attach, engorge to the host, and then fall down. There will be second molting from the larva to the nymph. Now the nymph attached to the third host. I am describing three hostic life cycle. Okay. Now when the nymph attached to the host, now it engorges. It will engorge, attach, engorge, and then fall down and become. Now this is the adult. Now the adult, after mating, they will give rise to eggs, and the life cycle continues. So remember, if one female tick in one will give rise to 4,000 eggs. Suppose there is mortality, 4,000 eggs, they will give rise to 4,000 larvae. But suppose there is 50% mortality, then there will be around 2,000 larvae. They will survive the adverse condition. Now this 2,000 larvae, they will molt into 2,000 nymph. But again, if you consider there is 50% mortality, then there will be 1,000 nymph, and the 1,000 nymph will give rise to 1,000 adults. If there is again 50% mortality, then you think about 500 adults will survive. And out of 500 adults, there will be a permutation combination. There will be 250 male and 250 female. So remember, in F1 generation, from one female, it can give rise to 10,000 larvae. Now you can imagine, if there are around 10 or 15 or 20 ticks hiding inside the premises, then how many number of larvae that can be produced in one generation? So that's why there comes the importance of on the host treatment and off the host treatment. On the host means we have to treat the animal. Off the host means we have to treat where the animal is sitting, or where the animal is grazing, or where the animal is taking rest. That is very, very important. Now, this is the managemental control. So first of all, I will talk about the managemental control, then biological control, then cultural control, then Last, I will tell about the chemical control, because chemical control will come last. First of all, we should think about prevention, because prevention is better than control. So one is housing management, breeding management, feeding management, nutritional management. We always try to keep the animal in the tick-proof buildings. Tick-proof building means you keep the animal where there will be no cracks, there will be no crevices. You should keep the animal in the shade. That shade should be made. You should plaster all the cracks and crevices, because these are the very good place for the breeding of the ticks, for the shelter of the ticks. Once they will engulf blood, they will come down. They will, they will fall and they will hide in the cracks and the crevices. So that is very, very important. So the animal shed should be crack free. It should be, if there is cracks and crevices, that should be filled up with sand or with the plaster. Then always keep your shed clean. Burn the wastes near the well of the animal shed. Pasture spelling or the rotational glazing or the plowing of the land is very, very important. Once you plow the land, what will happen? The ticks which are hiding inside the ground, they will come up, and now they are exposed to the sunlight. So that will act as a very good source for the control of the tick population, because tick cannot resist the heat. Then clearance of the vegetation, burning of the vegetation, quarantine. Whenever you are bringing new animals to the set, then you should at least keep them for 1 month quarantine. That you should treat them. Then you should allow to mingle with the old ones. Manual removal of the ticks is very, very important. At the same time, you don't throw them, you burn them. Otherwise, they will again attack new hosts. Now, there are several types of, biological controls. You talk about fungus, insects, bacteria, birds, plants. There are certain leguminous plants. They can act as, for the control of the larval stages of the ticks. So I will talk about one basic thing which people are now using rampantly. That is, biological control using the fungus, that is Bacillus thuringiensis. You might have heard about Bt toxins. These are nothing. You have to apply on the premises. This is coming in the liquid form, and you have to use 1 ml per 1 liter. Okay, and you have to spray on the animal shed, not on the animal body. What they will do, whenever you are spraying this, bacteria, these are the bacterial spores. Now these are ingested by the tick. The different stages of the tick, either they may be larva, they may be nymph. Okay, now while they're entering into the gut of the tick, now they will destroy the intestinal epithelium of the tick. They will produce toxin, that is known as endotoxin. Now this endotoxin, they will destroy the intestinal epithelial cell of the tick, or the developmental stages of the ticks. So the tick will die out of starvation. So now this Bt toxin, they are rampantly available. You go to any agricultural shop where the agricultural products are available, you can go for asking Bt toxins. The one commercial name is Dipel. This is produced by one Mumbai-based company. Another one is another fungus is that is Metarrhigia anisopleae. Another one is also Buivera. These are the fungus. You have to apply this spray either on the animal shed during night time, because fungus requires the humid environment to survive. If you apply during daytime, there will be sunlight and you cannot survive. So you have to apply during night time, or you have to spray water on the animal shed to maintain at least 60% humidity. That is very, very important. And the spores are available at a dose rate of 10 to the 8 spores per ml or per gram. So you can take this powder form, you can add 5 gram in 1 liter of water, and you can spray in the animal shed or in the animal premises. So what they will do, they will attach to the cuticle of the the ticks, and the tick cuticle will be destroyed. In that way, they are helpful, and they will also attack the egg also, and the egg will not hatch. So in that way, these are very, very helpful for the control of the tick population. That is known as off the host treatment, not on the host. These are off the host treatment. And another one is poultry. As I have told about the birds are known as the biological controlling machine, and they are the backward warriors. And it has been observed that if you leave 1 to 2 poultry wards in a cattle shed, and they can at least reduce 70% of the tick population. Okay, they go on scavenging, they will go on eating tick, grub, or flea, whatever they are in the site. At the same time, they are also getting nutrition. So at that time, they will also helpful for their growth. Okay. Then there are several ethno-veterinary practices people are using, and different anti-tick insecticide. Okay, like alcoholic extract of the sitafal, neem, that is very helpful for the control of the 2-host tick as well as the 3-host tick. Even feeding of the ground taramira, that is one that is mostly people are using in Rajasthan area. And when they are giving this to the animal, then the animal is giving the body a peculiar body odor is coming, and that is not favorable for the tick population. In that way, the tick population can be controlled. Then neem seed kernel, people are also using neem seed, neem leaves also people are using. Even people are using the grated or the powdered common salt on the animal body. So that can be also helpful for the control of the tick population. So I will tell you 2 to 3 herbal preparation that is widely used. So this is the eco-friendly control of the tick infestation among the dairy animals using the NIF's polyherbal medication. I have taken this from the ICI website, where people are using 2.5 kilo of fresh neem leaves, and that have to be kept in 4 liter lukewarm water. Then at the same time, you took 1 kilo of leaves of the nagod or the mala plant. You keep it in 2 liter of lukewarm water. Okay, you keep them overnight or at least 12 hours. After that, you prepare 300 ml of the crude extract of the neem and 100 ml of the monk pepper. You keep it as 3:1. That means 300 ml of the neem extract and 100 ml of the monk pepper extract. Now you add this 400 ml preparation with 3.6 ml, 3.6 liter of fresh water. You make them 4 liter. Now this is more than enough for 40 animals. You spray over the animal body. Okay. Now this will give inhibitory effect on the tick population up to 45 days. That means once you apply, it will be effective for 45 days. It will prevent the reinfestation. Okay. Another preparation is, you can take neem oil, that is around 15 ml. You add 2 grams of liquid soap, and you have to put it in 1 liter water. You mix it thoroughly, because as you know, the oil is not soluble in water. That's why you are using liquid soap as a saponin. So that will helpful for dissolving the neem oil along the water, and you soak the whole mixture at least for 6 hours, and you then spray over the animal body and even in the infested premises. That is also highly helpful for the control of the ectoparasites. Another one is, you can take neem seed. It is a ripe neem seed. You can take around 5 kilo. You grind and soak in water, kept overnight, filter through the cotton cloth, and you have to add 200 grams of soap and make up to 100 liter, and you can spray over the animal body or the infested premises. That is also highly helpful. Nowadays, people are also, this is one major area where people are working how to control the tick population, because the ticks, they are communicating with each other. Same species, they are communicating with each other. Even male tick communicating with the female tick through releasing of certain chemicals, that is known as semiochemicals. So we can use this semiochemical for the attraction of the ticks towards the set, and you can control them, like pheromones, allochemicals. Pheromones are mostly acting within the species level, whereas the allochemicals, they are acting between the species. So there are different types of pheromones, like arrest pheromones, AAA, attraction, aggregation, and the attachment pheromones, sex pheromones. Sex pheromones are again different types. So people are, this is now the new research area. Mostly Chennai South, in particular in Chennai, the people are trying using these semiochemicals for the control of the tick population. And this is a mostly the research topic, like what are the vaccines that are available. So far as vaccines are concerned, these are mostly against the one-host tick, like Buphalus macroplus, that is against cattle. So far as sheep and goat are concerned, Buphalus macroplus is not a big deal. there are other mostly three-host tick like Hemaphysalis, Rhipicephalus. They are mostly infesting the sheep and goat population. So I am not covering this topic as I have already discussed. Okay, I am skipping this. Now, coming to the chemical control. So why I am discussing the chemical control towards last? Because we're having very few options. Only when earlier people used to give organochlorine. After that, people give organochlorine, then organophosphates, then carbamates. Now we are in the age of using pyrethroids. These are the latest acaricides that are used against the tick population. Now ticks have developed resistance against all types of different generation of the pyrethroids. So we have to use judiciously. So what are the principles that should be followed? Periodic application of the acaricides. That means whenever you are using any acaricide, don't use acaricide for a prolonged period. At least you have to change the class of the acaricide once or twice in a year. And then whenever you are using acaricide, you use on the host as well as of the host. Why of the host? Because of the host treatment is very, very important compared to the on the host tick. Because in animal body, you will get hardly 50 to 100 number of ticks. But if you control this, it's okay. But whatever ticks are there inside the cracks and the crevices, they can give one tick, as I already discussed, in F1 generation, that can give rise to 10,000 larvae. So imagine if you are getting 50 number of ticks on the host, definitely there will be 500 ticks in the cracks and the crevices. And imagine how many number of larvae will be produced and how many number of female tick will be produced. So of the host treatment is very, very necessary. Then frequency of the treatment based on the pest species. One host tick, it requires less treatment, whereas for the three host tick, it requires more number of frequent treatment. Then what are the different methods of using the chemical acaricides? I will discuss later. So these are the commonly used to acaricides in India, and I will not go to the details. Okay. So there are different methods of acaricide applications: dusting, dipping, spraying, and the systemic. Dusting is preferred when there is very mild infection is there, mild infestation or low grade of infestation is there. In that case, you can go for dusting. While for dipping is a very good method for controlling the ectoparasitic population, particularly in case of sheep and goat, because it aids for the uniform application of the acaricide. That is very, very important. But at the same time, due to dipping, there will be gradual decrease in the population of decrease in the concentration of the acaricide. That will be a formation of a gradient. So that has to be avoided. Whenever you are using the acaricide solution in dipping, you have to check it in every batch, and you have to use the fresh solution. Then spraying also effective, and systemic is you can use whenever there is very less number of population size or the flux size, because it is costly. So far as control is concerned, we have to. It is totally based upon two aspects. One is eradication, and the second one is management. Eradication is not possible, as you have already seen using different strategy. So we have to believe on the management. So management is only possible by the integrated approach of the physical, chemical, biological, cultural, and the chemical method of control. Okay. So there are certain things while use of the acaricides. What are these basic principles? Avoid dipping. You always prefer to apply the acaricides during the means towards morning or towards evening. Don't spray these acaricides in cloudy or rainy or windy days, because once you spray these acaricides on the animals, and if you let loose the animals, then they will be washed away in rainy water. Okay. Then provide sufficient water for drinking before application of the any acaricides. Otherwise, the animal may lick the acaricide, so that is maybe toxic to the animal. The next one is never apply acaricide in the wound region. Then the weak animals or the pregnant animals, they should not be allowed for dipping. Okay, because that is harmful. Then avoid dipping of the semen in advanced stage of pregnancy, as I have already discussed. Okay, and you should change the acaricides regularly. Okay. and seek advice from a veterinarian on the appropriate use of the acaricide and its dosage. Then what are the common mistakes we do? Whenever we are using, nowadays we are using pyrethroids of the Amitraj. The pyrethroids, they are always coming in umber color bottle. Why they are coming in umber color bottle? Because they are highly vulnerable towards sunlight. So that's why they are coming in dark bottle or the umber color bottle. So whenever you are reconstituting the working solution, don't keep in sunlight, and don't, if there is anything remaining, don't keep the residual solution for the next day. Whenever you are reconstituting any pyrethroid or amitraj solution, you use it on the same day, and you don't use hard water. Okay. And the removal of the ticks, whenever you are removing the ticks, don't throw, you burn them, so that the tick population can be controlled. So there are certain things for the integrated control of the tick population. That means cleaning is very, very important. That is one major aspect of the, that is pasture spelling, pasture burning. The second one is application of the herbal acaricides, what I have already covered in the ethno-veterinary practices, at least once in a week for continuous 3 weeks. Then application of the fungal spores, then judicious use of chemical acaricides. If you follow the first 3 methods, then the chemical acaricide will be, you can use as little as possible. Okay, in that we can control the development of the acaricide resistance. Then the most important part is, I have already covered the tick of how can control the tick. Now the next important part is the control of the lice. Compared to the tick is not a permanent parasite, because it is regularly changing the host. It is a periodic parasite. Okay. If you talk about the lice is a permanent ectoparasite. Okay. That means all the stage. That means all the stages of the parasite, that is the larva, nymph, and adult, that occurs in one host. All the stages completed in one host. Generally, the life cycle took around 4 to 5 weeks for completion in case of lice. Generally, what they do, their eggs are known as nits. They will attach to the hairs by secreting a glue-like structure or cement-like structure. Then this egg has to become nymph. There are several nymphal stages, and the nymph converted into adult. So before, as I have already discussed, whenever we are going or planning or formulating a control strategy, we should understand the life cycle of the particular vector or the particular ectoparasite. Here, the life cycle will be completed in 4 to 5 weeks. But remember, whatever acaricide is available, whatever insecticide is available, that is only effective against the larval or the nymphal or the adult stages, but not against the egg. So that's why, and the egg takes around 10 to 14 days to hatch. So that's why whenever you are using any acaricide against the lice population, then we should repeat the acaricide at least once in 14 days in 2 weeks interval. So what are the different lice that are present in case of sheep and goat? There are 2 types of louse, as I have already discussed. One is biting louse, one is sucking louse. Biting louse, they will go for biting. Sucking louse, they suck blood. So these are the species. Biting louse, that is Damalenia ovis. It is also known as Bovicola ovis. And in case of sucking louse, that is Linogranthus ovilus. It is also known as blue louse or the body louse or the face louse. Linogranthus africanus and Linogranthus pedalis. And in case of goat, Damalenia capre and Bovicola limbata, it is mostly affected the Angora goat. And if we talk about the sucking louse, Linogranthus stenopis, that is also known as the body louse of goat. These are the different species of biting and sucking louse that are found in case of sheep and goat. So what are the typical characteristic feature of a biting or a sucking louse? You see, the biting louse, the head is normally broad. If you talk about the sucking louse, the head is comparatively pointed. Okay, and as I've already discussed, by microscopical you can clearly demonstrate. And even as the lice, you can they are just a dandruff-like structure, whitish structure or bluish gray-like structure. Even if you examine the animal's body against the not against the direction of the hair, then you can clearly visualize this ectoparasite because it is visible to the naked eye, unlike mite population, because mite they are not visible to the naked eye, whereas this lice, they can be easily visible to the naked eye. And the body structure is dorsoventrally flattened. Okay, and this is widespread. There's an infestation of the lice population both in sheep and goat. It is widespread, and these lice, these are dorsoventrally flattened, and these are small wingless insects. They show very sluggish movement. Okay, unlike fleas, they are very active, whereas lice, they are having very limited movement, or they are very sluggish. And unlike tick population, they have a marked degree of host specificity, even location specificity, even organ specificity. Okay, and lice, they can survive up to 1 or 2 weeks outside the host. That means they can survive for a very limited period, and the whole life cycle, as I already discussed, they spend on the host skin, and they are generally transmitted by the direct contact. However, they are not responsible for transmission of any disease like ticks. They can transmit so many bacterial, viral, or protozoan diseases. So far as lice are concerned, transmission of disease has not been reported so far. So there are two important things. One is the saliva, and the second one is the feces. The saliva and the feces of the lice play a vital role because they contain some allergens. So that causes allergies. Compared to biting lice, sucking lice, they are contain one hearten-like structure. So that causes severe irritation, severe burning sensation. So the animal will do he will scratch his head, scratches his body, and there will be encrustation. There will be loss of hair. There will be loss of wool production. Okay, even Linognathus pedalis, there is one sheep louse that causes lameness of the foot. And so these are the common facts and figures about the lice population, about the lice, biting louse and the sucking louse. And if you talk about the infestation, it is not normally it is called as the lousiness or the pediculosis. It mostly occurs during the colder season, winter season, and the affected part is mostly affected the head, neck, dorsum, and the groin region. Okay. So what are the symptoms? The animal will scratch its head or scratches its affected part. So there will be scaling, crusting, erythema, severe intense pruritus. There will be loss of hair. There will be alopecia. Okay, and it mostly affects the kid population. So there will be anemia. So it may mislead you that the animal may be suffering from hemoncosis. But you have to examine the fecal examination. There will be fecal examination, and at the same time, the hairs, the body, that should be examined thoroughly for the presence of the lice population, because that is also important factor for the kids anemia. There will be severe weight loss. Okay, so what are the predisposing factor, like poor diet or poor quality diet or inadequate nutrition, then intensive overcrowding, then cold season or intercurrent diseases. So that all together exposes the animal to or the vulnerable to the lice infestation. So whenever we are talking about the control of the lice population, as I've already discussed, there are two types of lice: biting louse and the sucking louse. So far as biting louse are concerned, they are totally depending upon the organic waste or the body dandruff. They are or the they are eating the dead or the exfoliated materials of the host. So in that case, the systemic acaricide is not that much helpful. For them, the spraying or the dusting will be much more helpful. So far as sucking lices are concerned, for them the systemic insecticides are more helpful compared to
Sir, you are not audible. Maharana sir. Maharana sir. Maharana sir. Maharana sir, you are not audible. Dr. Shiraj?
Yes, yes, he's not audible.
Okay, okay. Yeah, better you call him, sir. He's
Yeah, I will call him.
no, he left, I think. He's there.
Is it
Am I
here or
audible?
he left?
Yeah,
Am I
he's there,
audible?
sir. Yes, 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 sir.
Actually, there is some light interruption was there, so that's why.
It's okay, sir.
So many things happening during my lecture.
Only during your
Till
lecture.
today, everything is happening in during my lecture. Okay, anyway, we should go ahead. Okay, so till now it's okay, na?
Yes, sir. It
Yes,
was
yes,
okay. Share screen, sir.
Okay, okay. Now it is visible.
No, sir. You click on share screen button and start again.
Oh, I have to start again.
Yes, sir.
Just 1 minute.
Last time also around this slide only problem.
Acha, okay. Maharana sir, unmute your microphone, sir.
Okay, sir. Again, I'm.
Just you click on share screen, sir, and
Okay, okay, sir. Now it is visible.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's visible now.
Okay. So, what are the different method for the control of the lice population? As you have already told that the permanent, it is a permanent ectoparasite. So, systemic insecticide is less efficacious against the biting louse, but that is effective against the sucking louse. And whenever you are going for application of any insecticide, the animal should be sheared. Then chemotherapy will be very much effective after shearing, because shearing reduces at least 80% of the population of the lice. Then cleanness or the disinfection of the farm appliances, that is highly required, because this lice can survive in the sewage as well as in the shearing appliances. Even the shearing instruments, they are also helpful in transmission of the lice from one healthy animal to from the infested animal to the healthy animals. So you have to also spray the insecticide on the shearing appliances on the premises. Okay. And I have already told that the lice can survive 2 to 3 weeks outside the host. So that's why off the host treatment is very, very required in comparison to the on the host treatment. Then desiccation, avoid overcrowding. Then the new arrivals must be examined and treated for the any ectoparasite. Then spraying or dipping, that is highly effective against this lice population. But you always remember that since there is no parasite that is effective against the egg, so that's why you have to target the different developmental stages like the nymph or the adults. So we have to treat at least at 14 days interval, since the eggs are not affected by the insecticides. Now, the another important ectoparasite is fleas. It is if you compare the lice and the fleas, lice are the permanent ectoparasite, but the fleas are the periodic parasite, and the fleas are the laterally compressed, whereas the lice are dorsoventrally compressed. Here the fleas, they are when you compare the lice are very, very sluggish, whereas fleas, they are highly active. Okay, they are having long legs, so they can jump up to 7 to 8 inches, and the life cycle completed in 2 to 3 weeks. And the adults are only parasite, whereas in case of lice, all the stages are parasite, whereas in case of flea, only the adults are parasitic, and they are very much they're having flexibility towards the host. That means lice, they are highly host specific, organ specific, location specific, whereas the flea, they are not having that type of specificity, and mostly the systemic acaricide or the pyrethroids, they are highly effective against this flea population. Okay, even people have started using fipronil. They are also highly effective against this flea population. Now the flies. The last one is the flies. Flies, as I've already discussed, these are the biting flies and the masses causing flies and the non-masses causing flies. So mass is a broad term. That is, mass is a condition that is caused by the larva of the dipteran group of flies. They cause masses. Means once the lice or the ticks, they they injure to the animal skin. When the serum or blood is something oozes out, that attracts the flies. Either primary mass is causing flies or the secondary mass is causing flies, and in that way, the flies are causing a havoc in the so far as the hide or the leather industries are concerned. So what we'll do, how we can control? So one best thing is proper management, proper manure and urine disposal on regular basis, and disposal should be done at a reasonable distance from the animal shed. Then stagnation of the drainage, that should be avoided. Smoking, even people are trying smoking, because smoking of the raw leaves, neem leaves, especially during evening, that will be helpful in reducing the nuisance, particularly in case of culicodes flies. Even you can go for using fly repellent, natural repellent like neem oil, orange oil. If you can apply over the animal body, even the mustard oil, if you can apply over the animal body, they will give a peculiar odor. That is not tolerable by the ectoparasites like flies or fleas or the lice population. Okay, even people are using naphthalene tablets or the camphor. They have to use in neem or the mustard oil and apply over the animal body once in a week. That is more than enough. Okay, and they are not having any harmful residues or any. So, and there is a minimum chance of development of resistance. Okay. And whenever you are going for application of this, all these oils, that should be against the direction of the hair and should cover the entire body, especially under the belly or under the leg. And even you can go for using the fly-proof net. And another simple thing, that if you can cover the dung with a small, plastic cover, then that will also helpful for the control of the fly population, because fly used to give eggs on this manure, freshly laid manures. So if you can cover these manures in a bunny bag or something like that, plastic cover, then that will also reduce the fly population up to 70 to 80%. Another important fly is nasal, that is Oestus ovis, that is causing first git. So these flies, these adults are non-parasitic, but these adult flies, they used to, that is called Oestus ovis, they used to lay eggs in the nose or the nostril. Then these are actually, they are larvivorous. They used to lay larvae. Now these larvae enter the cranial sinus, even to the different sinus of the head region, and they cause severe irritation, itching, and the animal will used to means run due to in terms of fear, that is known as entomophobia, and they in that way it can injure itself. So we have to use certain systemic insecticide like macrocide lactons at the rate of 200 microgram per kg body weight or 0.2 milligram per kg body weight, and that is highly effective in controlling the larval population of these flies. Then another important aspect of the ectoparasite is mange, that is mite. The mite infestation in case of animal is known as mange. There are three types of mite. One is follicular mite, another one is boring mite, and the third one is the non-boring mite. If you talk about the boring mites, that includes Sarcoptes, and this is Sarcoptes, and the non-boring mites like Soroptes and Coreoptes, and the follicular mite, that is Demodex. So these are the these are Sarcoptes, Soroptes, and these are the Demodex females, and so these are the common site which are mostly infested by these ectoparasites. These are the normal predilection site of these ectoparasites. So, as I've already discussed, whenever we are going for controlling any ectoparasite, you should understand the life cycle of the particular ectoparasite. In case of mite, the whole life cycle completed in 2 weeks. Okay, it is having a incomplete metamorphosis. Egg will give rise to larvae, and the larva, then proton. There are different nympha stages: protonymph, triatonymph, and then it will give rise to adult. Mite is also a permanent ectoparasite. Remember, just like lice, mice is also an important permanent ectoparasite. So for that, you should remember certain things. And here I have tried to differentiate between the borrowing mite and the non-borrowing mite. As I've already told, the Sarcoptes is a borrowing mite and Sauroptes is a non-borrowing mite. So borrowing mites mostly affect the head or the neck and the feet region, but they also affect the whole body, and they mostly affect the non-hairy part compared to the Sauroptes. Sauroptes mostly affect the hairy part. Okay, it's a non-borrowing mite. In case of Sarcoptes, there will be severe itching, irritation. While in case of Sauroptes, there is less itching, less pruritus. And if you go for skin scraping, then you can very well see this Sarcoptes, and you can easily differentiate the Sarcoptes with the Sauroptes. Okay. So far as Sarcoptes are concerned, these are borrowing mite, and so that they are found inside the deep skin. So in that way, the topical insecticides are not that much helpful. Whereas in case of Sauroptes, the topical application of the acaricides are highly effective. So far as the Sarcoptes are concerned, there are 3 Sarcoptes species which are mostly found in case of sheep, like Sarcoptes scabies var ovis and Sarcoptes scabies var capri. These Sarcoptes species, these are also having zoonotic importance. Okay, they can also be transmitted to human being. Whereas in case of Sauroptes, the commonly prevalent Sauroptes species are Sauroptes cuniculi and Sauroptes capri. Sauroptes cuniculi mostly affect the ear region. Okay, so there will be severe itching, irritation, then there will be head shaking, okay, shaking of the ear in case of infested animals. And so far as the treatment of the mange is concerned, the contact insecticide like pyrethroids, they are highly helpful. You can use it 2 to 4 ml for 1 liter of water. Always remember, whenever you are using any pyrethroids, when you are going for on the host treatment, it should be 2 ml per 1 liter of water. But whenever you are going for premises of the host treatment, then you have to use the double dose. The concentration should be doubled, and you can even go for different types of sodium hypochlorite, potassium permanganate, or chlorhexidine. These are the different types of disinfectant that can be used in the premises for the control of these ectoparasites. Then even you can go for sulfur drips. Sulfur drips you can use 2 to 4%, and it has to be continuously given for 5 days in case of acute infection, and after that once in a week up to 3 weeks. Okay, this is one systemic insecticide like ivermectin or the doramectin. You can use it once in a week up to 3 to 5 weeks depending upon the condition. Okay, then there are different oil combination. Neem oil, orange oil I have already discussed. They can also be applied as a preventive measure. If there is a wounded person, that may attract the secondary masses causing flies. So that's why you have to you can go for using this aloe vera paste on the affected part. Then you can go for using antibiotics due to secondary bacterial infection, like enrofloxacin, oxytetracycline. These are the different types of antibiotics you can go for. Then segregation. Segregation is very, very important because this means they can be transmitted from, they're highly contagious. They can be transmitted from one animal to another animal. So, and it has been all observed that one sheep, if it is infested with either tick or the mite, or they can infect the whole herd within a span of 1 to 2 months. So that's why segregation of the infested animal is very, very important. At the same time, we should treat the infested animal. We should spray the premises with the different insecticide with double dose concentration and treat the infected animals. Then, what are the things that has to be taken into consideration while controlling the mite population or the mange? Systemic acaricide is much more effective, particularly in case of demodectic mange or in case of Sarcoptes or the borrowing mites. Topical use has limited applications for borrowing mites, whereas it is valuable for the non-borrowing mites. Repeated treatment is required both on the host as well as off the host. Apart from that, Supportive therapy is very, very important. Like I have told you about the secondary bacterial infection. For that, you have to go for giving, corticosteroids or the, antibiotics and the multivitamins. Then assessment of the clinical recovery by skin scraping examination is also very, very important. Okay. So far as mites are concerned, resistance has not been reported. Okay. So it is a very good news for us. So whenever you are going for treatment of the sarcoptic males, the treatment should be repeated at 14 days interval. Whereas in case of sorotic male, the treatment should be repeated every 7 to 10 days interval. That should be remembered. Okay. That all depends upon the life cycle of the borrowing and the non-borrowing mite. And as I've already discussed repeatedly, that whenever you are going for treatment, of the host treatment is very necessary, and you should treat the premises of the cattle shed or the animal shed with the natural different types of disinfectants like chlorhexidine, sodium hypochlorite, and potassium permanganate solution. Then, so I am coming to the last slide. That is the challenges and the opportunities. What are the challenges? Challenges are that these ectoparasites, apart from sucking blood, they are also helpful for transmission of so many bacterial, viral, and protozoan diseases. As I have already talked about babesiosis, theileriosis, anaplasmosis. So these are the ticks which are responsible for transmission of so many protozoan diseases. So in one hand, they are causing anemia. They cause blood loss, production loss, leather industry loss, all the economic losses due to milk production, and hide industry loss due to hide damage. Apart from that, they are also helpful for transmission so many diseases. So that is another aspect, is treatment cost loss. Okay. So far as chemical acaricides are concerned, there are few acaricides left because these ectoparasites develop resistance against all classes of the insecticide. So we have to use the insecticide judiciously. Don't go for indiscriminate use of the acaricide. Underdosing should be avoided. You should always treat the animal according to the heaviest body weight of the animal. Remember, that is also very, very important. Whenever you are using the acaricide, you use judiciously. Apart from that, you should use according to the heaviest body weight of the animal. Underdosing should be avoided because underdosing will lead to a development of resistance. And once resistance develops, the resistance is genetically hereditary. It can be inherited from mother to the offspring. So once there is a resistant population in your flock, it is very, very difficult to control. So that should be remembered. And since the development of a new drug takes more than a decade, so we have to use different combination of the acaricides. First, you have to completely rely upon the management, then go for biological control, then go for cultural methods, ethnoveterinary practices, and last you should follow the chemical method of control. Then effort should be made to identify the disease resistant breed. As I have already discussed, the Bos taurus and Bos indicus. Our indigenous cattle, they are highly resistant, like Sahiwal, Gir. They are resistant towards the tick infestation compared to the exotic like Jersey Holstein. So we have to identify those genes which are responsible for tick resistance, so that it can be implemented in the new breeding policy. Then development of broad spectrum vaccine. Whatever vaccine is there, like you tick guard or Gavak, these are the vaccine against the one host tick. But in India, in our country, the animal is infested with the multiple species, one host tick, two host tick, and three host tick. So in that case, if you are using only this type of vaccine, that is not fruitful. So we have to find out a target that is effective in against all the different tick population, like one host tick, two host tick, or three host tick. A novel vaccine candidate that should be discovered for development of a broad spectrum vaccine. Then cocktail vaccine. As you know, why ethnoveterinary practice is successful? Because we are targeting the different targets at a time. Whereas in case of vaccine, we are targeting only one antigen. So if there is any mutation, then the vaccine is not help. Means there is a biggest failure. So that's why whenever we are targeting or creating any or developing any vaccine, we should consider a cocktail of different antigens so that the development of resistance or the vaccination failure can be avoided. Another important aspect is IPM, integrated pest management. That should be integrated successfully. and that should be integrated in the mind of the farmers, the livestock owners. We should try to develop the acceptance of the IPM or the integrated vector management in the mind of the livestock owners. For that, extensive extension work is required so that the knowledge can be shared, the ITK, the integrated technology that can be transferred from the lab to the land. Then the integrated control of the tick population or the vector management will be successful. Thank you. Okay, sir.
Sir, there is only one question. So goats are not infected with the lice of sheep.
Okay. It's not like that. Actually, as I've already told that the one capri is there, Damalinia capri. So though the lice are very, very host specific, but Damalinia capri, this is also found in goat and also found in case of sheep.
So there are no more questions, sir. Only one question.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, actually, you have prepared the presentation very well, sir.
Now,
You please make it for our presentation also. The same thing.
I will add something extra, sir. Every presentation I am adding something extra, and
but should be strictly related to sheep and goat.
yes, it's strictly related to sheep and goat. But also, I am trying to cover only the sheep and goat, means what are the species that are affecting sheep and goat population.
Yes.
I have covered only that part only.
Yes.
And I have tried to only concentrate on the practical aspect.
Sir, what was the problem last time? Your audio was not.
I don't know, sir. It's the same. I am using the same computer and the same, every setup is same.
Okay.
It was my misfortune.
Okay.
So if you have any question, otherwise we can conclude, sir. Hello. Dr. Siraj?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Thank you. Hello.
Hello.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Biswarjana Maharana, sir, for this detailed lecture. We are highly thankful to you once again. And you have deliberated on the talk very nicely.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you very much.
So, we are now having one more lecture, Organic Goat Production, Challenges and Opportunities. And the speaker is Dr. Manpreet Kaur, who is Assistant Professor in the Division of Agronomy, Sukast, Jammu. Hello, sir.
Please ask madam
Am
to
I-
unmute her microphone, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening.
Okay, madam.
So, I request
This is
regarding Dr. Manpreet Kaur, I have a small introduction. She is having a professional experience of 17 years with different awards and honors, 14 awards and honors she has got during this period. And her area of specialization is crop management, nutrient management, crop simulation modeling, fodder and grass management, recycling of animal waste, and research interest is crop simulation modeling, fodder and grass management, recycling of animal waste. This is the number of her publications. It is research papers 33, abstracts, different 15 book chapters, 8 manuals, 17 chapters, paper reviews 15, and different types of publications, and with around 66 extension publications in her credit. So she has got many awards also, and delivered different talks in different forums, be at state level, national level, and has guided many students as one as major advisor and 4 as minor advisor Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ashok. And over to Dr. Manpreet Kaur, ma'am.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes,
You
madam.
are audible. Please
Okay.
start
Good
sharing your
evening.
screen.
Madam, please click on share screen button. Then
Yeah.
you start sharing.
Okay. So it's writing here host disabled participant screen sharing. Na?
No, madam. Now you.
No, so sir, make her co-host.
Yes, yes. Madam, please do it.
Okay.
Make it full screen, madam.
Okay. Is it visible, sir?
No, madam. You make it full screen. On the top, go to the slideshow mode. On the
I
top.
am done.
No, madam.
More.
Or you can stop share and do it again, madam.
Okay.
You click on stop share. Then again click on share screen button.
Stop share.
And click on share screen again.
Share screen.
Yes, it is coming, madam.
It's coming now.
Yes. Please continue.
Okay. Good evening, participant. As my topic is organic goat farming, challenges and opportunities, that I try to justify my topic. First, this is very recent data about the agriculture scenario. Let's take first a global scenario. Total area under organic agriculture is 107.4 million hectare, where the Australia is leading, followed by Argentina, Spain. If we talk about India, then we may say that under India, the area is about 2.30 million hectare, that is 2% of net sown area. And the major states where organic farming has been done is Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Maharashtra. Also, one thing, India has largest producers, about more than 13 lakh, and the Department of Commerce under Ministry of Commerce and Industries holding this whole agriculture production, and NPOP is an apex body. And we know that organic farming is that type of agriculture where we need third party inspection. So here we need third parties, and number of certifying agencies has been increased to 35 in number. And as it is a certified term, or we can say that organic is a certified labeled word. So it has a logo, and I have also given here organic Indian logo, India Organic. So if we talk about that, why we're thinking of organic goat, then we can say that there are some reasons. First is awareness regarding health. The previous lecture is talking about integrated pest management, and the sir is telling us that there is a problem, lot of problems of going only use of pesticides. So this is because it causing lot of problems. So this is the case that the organic goat we are thinking about, and we say that the pesticides which we are using in the crops, in the fodder, in the feed of the goat is showing up in the milk and its meat. And also the 60% of herbicides which we use, and 90% of fungicides and 30% of insecticides have a potential to cause deadly disease like cancer. And it has been also seen that if we are eating meat of inorganic animals, or drinking milk of inorganic animals, we have an excessive level of omega-6 relative to omega-3, which further cause the problem of arthritis, cancer, depression, heart attacks, lot of problems. And also because 30%, it is mandatory in organic farming that our ruminants, small or large, has been given 30% of pasture grazing. So they again help to more concentration of CLAs, conjugated linolenic acids, and have some antioxidant properties. And if we talk about of organic goats, they are the healthy goats. They show less symptoms of die-offs. They have less symptoms of nutritional deficiencies. They have faster growth rates. They are healthier. They have healthier vigor. They have more immune. This is the reason that organic goats, they are preferable. First, I have taken opportunities and challenges, because let's see what are the opportunities and what are the challenges. Then we have to intervene. What are the interventions we have to give them? The opportunities, what we find in the goats, we have already discussed, because a lot of the topics have been taken on goat, that they are prolific, they are adapted to different agroecological zones. We have 85% of marginal farmers, and they have marginal lands. So the goats have more potential on these marginal lands, and goats, they are the multi-purpose animals, meat, milk, hair, and so they have an important place in the economy, and they have an ability to browse on poor quality forage. They are more energetic efficiency. They have a milk production, have great under the crisis conditions, also under this climate scenario. They are resilient, and these are the different properties. They are adapted to heat stress. They have global acceptance of the organic product like goat cheese, goat milk, goat candies, meat, and fiber. This is the reasons. These are the opportunities that we can move towards the organic goat. And what are the challenges, what interventions we have to done, because we have to hold these challenges for. So I have kept this slide forward, that we see what are the problems we have to face in organic farming, so we intervene. The most important problem or issue we have to handle in the organic goat production is the intestinal parasites, and to achieve adequate nutritional management. If we talk about the nutritional management, then we see that we have a different system of feeding our goat, like intensive system. In intensive system, as we know that land holdings are shrinking, fragmentation is there, more of the people are moving towards the urban. We are no urban dwellers. Then then we have to switch from extensive system to intensive system. And intensive systems, here we have to provide feed and supplements to our animals, stall feeding. Now, this is very expensive. This is a challenge. We have to meet with it, because we can't stop the scenario of fragmentation. We can't stop the people to migrate from rural areas to the urban areas. So these challenges we have to face. And further, there are seasonal fluctuations of forage availability. We see that during the period of lush green periods, most of the period there are lush green, but May, June in the summers, and November, December, the winters, they are the seasonal crisis of the fodder availability. And so this is the reason that we have to intervene in it. Second intervention is the recommendation of pasture. I've already told that 30% of the dry matter feed have been come. It is recommended. It's a recommendation. It is not choice of a farmer. It is recommendation. It is mandatory that 30% feed is from pastures. So this is sometimes this is not possible when the milking equipment is in the stable and the pastures too far away. These are the intervention we have to deal with. And high stock density in the animals, marketing facilities, and whatever more is the competition. When we are talking about organic goat farming, then we have also think about the export and the marketing, and there are very strict measure developed between developed and developing country. That is also a great. The competence are great when we're talking about milk and meat of our animals. So these are the challenges what we have to deal with. So we will slowly talk about this topic. And when we talk about organic goat farming, let's first see the standards and guideline, the procedure. What the farmer, if some farmer want to shift from inorganic to organic goat farming, what thing he has to done? First of all, registration, because that organic bird is a labeled bird, I already told, and it needs third party. So registration is must. because NPOP is the highest body in the India, which assigned a work of registration to some certifying bodies. I have already told you there are some 35 certification bodies have been existing till date nowadays, and registration is the primary thing, because organic is the labeled word. Without logo we can't export. APIDA is the agency which deals with the export, so registration is the first thing. Then a lot of data recording is there. Then inspections are there, because there many inspections are there labeled. Then there is a labeling and there is a release for sale. And what is the procedure if the farmer is trying to move towards organic? First he take the application form from the certified body, then fill it and send to them. Then they start screening, and there's a cost estimation, there is acceptance, of course there's an agreement between grower and certification agency. And certification agencies, whatever the certification agency, mostly the standards are same, but there is little bit different between different certification agency, and they provide these standards to the grower. And when the grower get agree with those standards, then he have to pay his 50% of the cost. Then there is an agreement has been signed, and then the grower produce its product. It may be organic goat, it may be organic fodder, whatever it's planning, organic crop. Then the certifying agency has a full authority to inspect the field of the farmer. So inspections may be scheduled and may be announced or may be unannounced, so farmer should be ready for inspection anytime. And then there is an inspection report which is submitted to the certification committee. And when the certification committee get satisfied that whatever the procedure followed is fine, then they asked for the certification, and then there is a final payment. When final payment is made, then certification is granted, and whatever the farmer is they got it organic logo, and it is then ready for the sale, etc. Whenever we talk about particular organic goat, then first of all some standards are there, and the first standard is the breeding standard. The breed selection should be resistant, and the most resistant breeds are those which are adapted to the local conditions. So we have to promote the indigenous breeds, indigenous breed which is specifically mentioned for that area, because we are talking about organic and we have nothing to do with the synthetic pesticides and hormones, etc. So breeds, whatever breed, it is vital and resistant to disease. It has ability to give birth naturally. The procedures that are not allowed, the embryo transfer not allowed, hormonal heat treatment not allowed, genetically engineered species they have totally not allowed in the organic farming, and artificial intelligence in the animals is allowed. And if we talk about I have also attended some topics, and I have seen that the list of the breeds have already been given, and I just have a quick list. Bakarwali in Jammu Kashmir, different breeds have been given here which are resistant and which have some characteristics. So these breeds, local specific breeds, should be selected because they are resistant to diseases. No, the feeding standards. What are the feeding standards? The standards which we have to follow is that protein supplements when high energy feeds, hay at least 3 weeks before kidding the goat, female goat, and when the kids have to be fed for 45 days with natural milk, preferably maternal milk. But if maternal milk, because we know that goat milk, organic goat milk is very costly, and if the farmer does not have offered to give organic goat milk to the kid for 45 days, it can also use the organic skimmed milks. They're available. Then I have already told you that 30% feed from pastures for at least 120 days in the calendar year is very much required, and 50% feed is from the same farm. We can't, this is also required, we can't change the farm because the sources may be different. So 50% feed from the same farm, this is the feeding standard for if there is inadequacy. in the feed, and then 10% feed can be used from the conventional farms for the ruminants. Some supplements can also be given to the goat, like azola, at the rate of 300 to 500 gram. Feed blocks can be given with the wheat bran, maize, barley, rice, mustard cake, 2% mixture, and 1% salt has been used. Probiotics, which are they can be directly fed for the microbial, and prebiotics, a range of non-digestive dietary supplements which can increase the favorable organisms can be used for this. And the prohibitions here in the feeding is growth regulators, urea, animal byproducts, medicated feeds, hormones, chemically extracted feeds cannot be used in the organic goat production. So this is some techniques, because I have already told that urban dwellers are there, and we can't purchase organic feed because they are very costly, and so we have to produce our own. So there is a standards how we can go for the organic fodder techniques, because it is assumed that animal health can be maintained by prevention, because two major issues in organic goat farming is feed, fodder feed, and health issues. So it can be assumed that animal health is very much important, and prevention is better than cure is the main formula when we are dealing with the organic goat production. Have a quick look on the scenario of fodder production. We can say that if we talk about agriculture GDP, 25%, 25.6% is the contribution to national economy, whereas livestock contribution to 4.11%, and goat farming contribution is 8.4% to livestock GDP, and 20 million smallholder families dependent on the goat farming, and it generates the employment of 4.2%. India is first in milk and second in largest goat meat producing. So we can say these are the opportunities available here. So it is better to go for the detailed organic fodder production. And if we see the scenario of deficiency of green fodder, we can say that India is deficient in 11.24% and in green fodder, and in dry fodder it is 23.4%. Same is the scenario in J&K, with deficiency of 54% in green fodder and 67% in dry fodder. And most of the farmers, 51% they give crop residues, which are come under the category of non-maintenance fodder to the animals, and they are not productive, and they are no use. So it means we have to scale up our fodder supplies. It can be scaled up by using fodder banks, feed conversion of fodder into feed blocks, and because excess fodder may be there, and we have to conserve it for at the time of the lean periods. Growing perennial fodder trees, fodder grassing, going for the staggered planting. Wherever I go, I adamantly recommend that go for the staggered planting. Staggered planting means at the intervals of 15 days, because if we have a field, we have to divide it in the blocks, and we have to go for the at the interval of 15 days. We don't sow the fodder at the same time in the whole. For example, we have a 2 canal area. If our farmer has 2 animals with 2 young ones, 2 canal area is an appropriate for it. So when we are talking about 2 canal area, then we have to cut it into blocks, so that we have go for the 15 days interval. Then we cut it in half canal area, half canal, like we have to divide it in 4 parts, and like rotational grazing, rotational sowing of the fodder, so that it can extend it. That's very important. And then we can go for the feed and forage system, and then we legume intake, because another reason for our animals weakness is they are using unbalanced diet. There should be integration between legume and cereal. That is very important. Legume integration is very important. So we have to also like coffee plus sorghum plus coffee, maize plus coffee, like we are eating cereals and pulses. So this is also very important. We have to go for hydroponic fodder fodders, supplement fodder like azolla cultivation, preserving fodder, silage and haymaking. We can switch to different sources of the fodder like perennial grasses, centrus, napier, kikwa, guinea, fodder tree like sesbania, lub, lupin, desmodium, different. And we have an hilly areas, and we have a problem of drainage basin, different catchment areas. So it's a greater scope for watershed. There are a lot of projects on watershed management, and we can use these boundaries for the fodder production, and the pit for the azolla cultivation, and hydroponic fodder. There is a this is the hydroponic fodder. And no, if we have to go for the organic fodder production, a package I am giving here, I think it's very important, useful for the farmer who are planning for organic fodder production. So सबसे पहले we are talk about site selection. When we are talking about growing our own organic fodder, there should be an isolation distance of 5 meters between organic and inorganic land, first thing. Then distance between two bunds of organic plot should be 1 meter wide. Irrigation should be nearby, because if the irrigation is far place, and it may be contaminated with lot of chemicals, and we have no control. And this is very important. Irrigation should be nearby. So these are the things which the inspection parties come and observe and certified. Then after that satisfaction, they certified the farmers. So choice similar in the case of breeds. In case of crops also, there should be the crops should be, the fodder should be adopted to that particular condition. They are naturally resistant. Planting material should be chemical origin. But if they are not available, then we have not to go for the chemical treatment. So genetically engineered seed pollens, they are not allowed. And if we are going for the seed treatment, we can use trichoderma, neem extract, trichoderma at the rate of 5 gram per liter of water, neem extract at the rate of 5%. And when we are talking about nutrient management of plant, then farmyard manure, poultry manure, compost manure, vermicompost, different sources are available. We can use it. Weed persistent disease control can be maintained in the fodder production by integrated organic management technique, preventive cultural techniques, mulches, companion planting, using of trap crops, encouraging natural enemies, promoting the use of GE animals and product like biological origin like vermiculture, vermivaj, dashparni, panchkavya, madgagad. They have a different potential of growth regulator, as well as they act as a biopesticides. So these are the different sources of the nutrient. And no, it again told you 30% dry matter come from the pasture. 30% portion is a great portion. And so we commercially we have to grow fodder, as well as we have to think about the how we can manage pasture, because our pastures, they are not managed well in whole India as well as in J&K. So we have to think about it, because pastures, they are very important, because we have a lot of the population is nomadic population, Bakkarwal, Gujarwal. They are landless livestock keepers, and they move from here and there. And for those people also, pastures are very important. And so barren uncultivated land, they can be utilized in grasslands, and like 30% dry matter certified organic pastures, it is a requirement. Again, I am told you that this is very important. And it also protect our soil from erosion and maintain the soil health, beside maintaining the diversity. And pasture, it is a domesticated grasslands. And we talk about types, it natural and sown. Natural pastures can be maintained, and if we are sowing, then we have to give some interventions. So when we talk about their scope, and it has been in this slide, we can see that the 36 million tons of fodder get added if we maintain our pastures. So pasture management, that is important, and this slide is important for us, because for maintenance of pastures, we can go for reseeding, because there is a high stock population of goats, and when they browse, and they just completely finish those areas now. So we have to reseed those areas. We should reseed those areas. We should have gross legume balance. Weed management is very important in pastures, because if some obnoxious weeds enter, they eradicate the whole pasture. That is very important, that we go for weed management. We go for good grazing management, and hortipastoral and silvipastoral system should be developed and encouraged, and pasture development development should be also done in nomadic routes. So these are the different reseeding pasture techniques, regeneration of grasses, grassing, natural reseeding, native and indigenous species should be introduced, grass legume balance is there, and important grasses which can be recommended for J&K. There are different grass, lolium ho gaya, Flaris, Dactylus glometra, Fetusae, and important species of legumes like Comilla, Lupinus, lotus, different, right, Trifolium repens, and weed management. Some problematic weeds, they are Strippas, Rumex, Cardas, Euphorbia. These should be managed. And how to manage proper grazing? Overgrazing should be refused. Proper grazing means when the stubbles remain 10 centimeter at least from the earth, we should remove our animals. Which 10 centimeter stubble should be remain for the grasses. We have to protect new seedlings, we have to move from time to time, we have to remove horses because they are the voracious eaters, they destroy the pastures, and we should manage our pastures by controlled grazing, fencing, rotational grazing, and management intensive grazing. These are different pictures showing the rotational grazing, where we cut our pastures into different wards and move the animals time to time and duration wise, so that our pastures get the time to regenerate again. So this is because our country as well as the northern hilly areas, they are rich in pastoral system, horticulture system. Then we can introduce pastures in terms of hortipastoral system. We can utilize our orchards, barren land. Silvipastoral systems is also promoted in our J&K and other hilly areas, and we can introduce different grasses, and these are the different perennial grasses and legumes which carry red clover, white clover, which are very much suitable for the hilly areas. And this is nomadic routes. We can use this drinking water for the nomadic peoples. We encourage them. They are also shifting towards, they are leaving their professions. This is very much shocking for us, because they are also very useful people for us, so they help a lot in our economy growth. So we have to gain their confidence. For that, we have to maintain their roots, we have to maintain the drinking water facilities there, we have to make more shelters there, so that they get confident and they don't leave their profession. So some of the future research strategies as deal with arable forage production is dividing our pastures and growing them according to agroclimatic zones, going strictly to conservation strategies for making hay and silage, encouraging short duration forage crops like turnip, mustard, etc., and enhancing forage production from problematic soils, and forage farming system based on water shed management approaches. So this is all about fodder and forage production. So one of the natural farming, I have given this slide here because if organic farming, the farmer has to put some like vermicompost, he has to purchase vermicompost, which he thinks is a costly, and he can purchase this farmyard manure, also costly. This is a trial, one of the trial of in our division, and I am working on it, where we have gone for natural farming, and the fodder, they are also very much responding to this natural farming, because in natural farming, what the formulation, it is a 4 basic pillars where we use some formulation like Jeevamrit, Bijamrit, and we can also promote here mulching. That is what is Vatapsa and Vahapsa. Here we have to balance soil moisture as well as air circulation. So here in natural farming, one of the principle is that we have to give mulching to our this one crop production. So Bijamrit, these are the different ingredients, are very meager for Bijamrit. If we talk about Bijamrit, then we have just mixed soil. Soil is soil because it's rich in microbial soil of the old banyan tree or neem tree. We have go to that tree which is very old, and in the root area of it we can take our side, not more, it's just one pinch of the soil or one for proportion of bijamrit, and we can use here basin we can use, and water use, and good use we can use here. So this is for bijamrit. Bijamrit means a treatment for seeds. If we treat we are using Azadirachta and neem cake, so bijamrit is very cheap one. It is very cheap one. When we use bijamrit, it is not costly. It is very sustainable. Farmer can bring it from its home too. So no dependency on the external inputs. Similarly, the case of Jivamrit, we can use here cow dung, cow urine, besan, good. This is the main ingredients of Jivamrit. Jivamrit means when the foliage comes out, then we have to spray. First, we have to spray at 5%, then we have to increase 7.5%, then 10%, then 12%. And the schedule is that we after 10 days we can in the fodder, because most the forage is important. After 10 days, we can go for this Jivamrit spray. It can provide nitrogen to the because cow urine has a lot of nitrogen, cow dung is there, and they help to provide nitrogen to our fodder, as well as they build slowly and gradually they build up organic carbon, and organic carbon is we know the depleting day by day, so it's a need of the ore. We can go for the organic carbon built up of our soil. So these formulations are very important. I personally I'm doing that, and it's very cheap. This is the main thing, is this is very cheap ingredients, then farmer can easily use these. So coming again to the organic goat farming, and another issue is health care and medicines. So preventive vaccines, they are allowed in organic farming, and they are used when disease is epidemic. Genetically engineered vaccines are not allowed. No antibiotics is allowed. But if the goat is suffering badly, then we can use antibiotics, and withdrawal periods should be of minimum 5 days when we have to sell the things of it. But we have to label that we can't say it is 100% organic, then we have to say that it's 75% and what proportion we have used of our medicine. It should be clearly written on the label. And only one chemical allopathic treatment is allowed for livestock for which the production period is less than 1 year. And dewormer must not be given 90 days before milk production. These are the some health standards which we have to manage. For deworming parasitic control, what things we can use? We can go for the condensed tannins, combination of grasses, legumes and weeds, because tannins, they have an ability to bind parasites, and then the parasites are not able to reproduce. Some tannins rich food like leaves of oak, bear, jamun, gawa, mango, kachnar, they can be given to the goat. Chicory can be given, sainfoin, lotus, bird's foot trefoil, that can be act as a natural dewormer, as well as they can control the parasites. And the saponins, they are also useful to control protozoa growth like eucalypt, Chalaza. Saponin containing forage can be encouraged like Antirolibum and Sesbania. Fruits saponin containing saponin like sapinus, sapindus can be given. Some legume forages which are rich in tannins and saponin like Sola, Sainfoin, bird's foot, Macua, they can be given to the goat for its intestinal parasite management. And if we talk about what type of house is given for organic goats, then it is said that the more indoor area, less indoor areas, more outdoor areas, movements are there, exercise is there, ample access of air and ventilation is there. The flock should be maintained. Social behavior is there. No caging, tethering is not allowed in organic goat. Mobile houses in poultry. And if we talk about what is the size of the stable in indoor animal, it is 1.5 square meter per goat and 0.35 square meter per kid. And if we talk about outdoor runs, it is 2.5 square meter for goat and 0.5 square meter for kids. And I have already told you in the procedures that one of the important component in organic goat farming is the record keeping, which the farmer also think that's very hectic, but it is very necessary because it is a label term, and the data record is very important for it. And record must be understandable and available for inspection. This is what to be addressed to the farmers. Records include identification, which type of breed is used, whether it was born on the same farm or purchased, what type of health records have been used. I have already told, when we are feeding antibiotic, it should be clearly written so that the certifying agency decide what type of label should be given to the farmer. And feed information, what type of feed has been given, what are the ingredients of the feed, how much amount of pasture grazing is allowed to the farmer, all should be clearly written in the records. And the standards, they are also given regarding processing of the goat products. For example, when we talk about processing, organic meats may not come in contact with the non-organic meats. No synthetic materials may be used during the processing. These are because organic should be from the grower to the consumer plates. So all the steps which involved from grower to the consumer place should be addressed so that our consumer get purely organic, or what type of organic it's getting, 75% organic and 90% organic. Even the slaughtering has been taken into consideration, that a painful slaughtering is avoided in front of goats in organic conditions. In front of goat, another goat cannot be cut and slaughtered. This is also mandatory in this. And storage, transportation, processing, labeling, all should be taken care of. Co-mingling shall be prevented. Pest control is through physical barriers, sound and light, and irradiation is not allowed. Processing method should be mechanical, physical and biological. Packaging material should be eco-friendly and biodegradable. Labeling shall convey clear and accurate information on the organic status of the product, that I have already told you, because for this labeling we have to keep our labeling is at the end, and for that we have to keep our records very clear what we have used. And one important terminology used in organic production, whenever we are used for organic product, conversion period is very important terminology. Conversion period, we can say it is a transition period when our product is changing from inorganic to organic, and it depends upon the different what type of thing is going to convert. If we talk about fodder and grassland conversion period, it usually takes 2 years until your farm is eligible for organic status. If the farmer is growing organic fodder, at least 2 year history, first the history of the farm is taken into consideration. If the hilly area farmers, that are organic by default, then we can say that only, okay, you're organic by default by your history, and we can still they have to have a conversion period of 1 year. But mostly when we are generally, it is 2 year for most of the farms for fodder and grassland conversion period. For years like Punjab and Haryana, which are more using very huge amount of pesticides and all that, and that areas, they have the 3 to 5 years time scale of conversion period of their farm, and 12 months for the pig and poultry, and 2 years for land intended for goat grazing. And conversion period for goat, whenever what the time period our goat takes when we are converting them from inorganic to organic. Already I've told you, pastures 24 months, and milk, cows, sheep, goats 6 months conversion periods, and small ruminants 6 months conversion period. 6 months of conversion period is required. And if your young stock has to be purchased from conventional farms, the maximum age at the time of purchase is 45 days, not more than that. If the animal, this kid, young stock has some precautions, 45 days of the age. And for the kids, just after weaning, we can bring it in our farm, and it can be considered as an organic. Every year, 20% of the female breeding stock of small ruminants can be purchased from conventional farms. If they're not available from organic farms, this can be taken, this can be permitted. But for the case of the male breeding stock borrowed from conventional farms can be used. There is no restrictions for buying of the male breeders, no? But they have to provide all those feeding standards, breeding standards, and health standards that should be maintained for that. For full organic meat, first we are talking about conversion. No, that is full organic. When we say that the full organic meat is there, raised from a full organic meat and fiber goat must be raised from the last third gestation to slaughter. It starts from the last third gestation. Okay, when we're talking about full organic. For milk animal, they must be raised organic for the previous 12 months. That we say that is a full organic milk. And no prohibited substance has been applied for 36 months prior to full certifications. That is full organic. This is the mandatory things for the full organic. I have already told you that there are some accreditation agencies which have an authority to announce certifying agencies. APIDA is our export agency which deals with the organic trade, export trade. Coffee board is there, spice, some boards are there like coffee, spice, tea, coconut, and Directorate of Cashew and Cocoa Development. They deal with accreditation. They are accreditation agencies. Certifying agencies which act as a third party agencies, 35 in number. Some important agencies are some familiar agencies, they're EcoCert, IndoCert, Lecnogum, IMO, SGS. They are some prominent certifying agencies in India, and these are the organic logos. Some of the countries like in India organic, Japan ka organic, and Canada ka organic, different, Australia organic. So these are the different organic logo given to the when the full organic procedure is followed, then this organic logo has been given to our animal, goat or fodder, whatever the farmer want to grow organic. Thank you very much. Any answer question, please?
Thank you, ma'am. Hello.
Hani, I'm audible.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for a wonderful presentation on organic goat farming. Regarding question is there any is there any sheep goat farming in India certified as organic? If yes, where?
What sheep organic goat farming?
Is there anywhere organic sheep farming or goat farming in India certified one?
No, देखो हमारा main center which deals with the organic is these certifying agencies and NPOP and projects. Mostly there are a lot of work has to be done on the organic farming, and I don't know about this. Any organic goat. I haven't heard about that. I haven't read. I have tried to find, but I don't find it कि organic goat ऐसे कोई establish हो like.
Okay. Muzammil Sheikh has raised his hand, please.
Yeah, good evening, madam. Thanks for the wonderful presentation. So it was really good. Basically, I come from a meat science background, and I'm based out of Bangalore, and I'm currently working on your chawan and lamb meat. So I do the production activities and also sales. So I think, first of all, like the policies, whatever you said about the organic meat production, right? So this is like something which has to be immediately brought into implementation in India. That is first thing. And secondly, that's a very difficult task because especially like, the record keeping, tracking, and especially at the farmer level, the production level, basically at the farm level and also at the shepherding level. Farm level, somehow we can manage, but at the shepherding level, it's really difficult. So if there is like, a certain, what do you call, FPOs or something like that, who can manage, and basically an educated team only can do that job. And most importantly, madam, I would like to connect with you further on this. If you can share me your email ID. So because I'm also working on the similar things, I manage about a couple of farms across Bangalore. So I would like to, try and implement this as per the, the things what you have shared.
Okay. What you want, my mail ID?
Yes, madam, please.
I think Dr. Shiraz will share it with you.
Okay.
Shiraj?
Okay, I think there are no more further questions.
Hmm.
Shall we conclude then?
Yes, yes.
Okay, ma'am, thank you. And
Thank you, sir.
they are all thank you for being here.
Madam,
till
if you
now.
can share, the PPT as well, it will be good. Siraj sir, please.
Okay.
Everyone is PPT will be shared in the group very soon. We are collecting and it will be done. I have already got his her PPT also.
No, we will share all the videos also.
Yeah. I have, we will share
All the edited,
videos.
all the edited videos will be shared.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
I have already got her presentation and I will share the PDF with her permission.
Yeah, sure, sir. Sure.
Okay, thank you.
So shall I close it?
Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay, okay, sir.